The Multiple Arcade Machine Emulator, or popularly known as MAME, is a portal that holds the power to take you back to your glory days, where every quarter promised pixelated adventures with your comrades. It allows you to relive those days of joy and glory once again. However, not all arcades games shine perfectly due to hardware quirks or emulation limits. That's why we've handpicked the top 100 MAME arcade games that still pack that old retro punch. Street Fighter II Champion Edition 1992. Street Fighter II Champion Edition remains as thrilling today as it was in the arcade boom of the early 1990s. Capcom reimagined the original by making the 4 formidable boss fighters, Balrog, Vega, Sagat, and M. Bison, playable right from the start, and even introduced mirror matches so you can duke it out against a clone of yourself. In this electrifying tournament, Monsieur Bison's sinister plan to recruit the world's best fighters sets the stage for fierce rivalries and creative combos that kept players glued to the joystick. The gameplay is razor-sharp and fluid, offering a perfectly balanced mix of strategy and raw button-mashing excitement that still thrills today. With vibrant, detailed graphics and punchy backgrounds that capture the arcade's energetic vibe, every fight bursts with personality. Even decades later, this fighting game stands the test of time with its gameplay depth and competitive charm. Thanks to modern emulation via MAME, players can relive the authentic arcade experience at home, reminding us why this title deserves a spot among the top MAME arcade games of all time. Metal Slug 3 2000. Metal Slug 3, released in 2000, is a wild run-and-gun arcade classic that still shines on MAME. Developed by SNK, it's the 4th entry in the Metal Slug series, and the last one made by SNK before major changes hit the company. The game's story pits elite soldiers against a resurgent rebel force and even alien invaders, offering a wacky blend of military action and sci-fi chaos. What truly makes Metal Slug 3 special is its sheer variety. With branching paths in each mission, you can choose hidden routes that lead to different challenges, secret vehicles, and bonus surprises. Whether you're piloting the quick and nimble ostrich slug, firing off explosive attacks in the elephant slug, or even transforming into a zombie with a devastating vomit attack, every playthrough feels fresh and unpredictable. The rich, hand-drawn pixel art and smooth animations create an energetic visual feast, while its frantic, challenging gameplay has won over fans worldwide. It's a timeless, adrenaline-pumping adventure that still holds up perfectly on MAME, earning its rightful place among the top 100 MAME arcade games. NBA Jam 1993. Developed by Midway, NBA Jam 1993 is a slam-dunk arcade classic that still fires up players every time they jump on the court. This 2-on-2 basketball game redefined the sport with explosive, fast-paced action and exaggerated moves that turn every match into a high-scoring frenzy. Forget realistic play, NBA Jam is all about the spectacle. Players execute jaw-dropping, gravity-defying dunks while the announcer's famous call of "He's on fire" reverberates over the cabinet. Its vibrant, cartoonish graphics and smooth animations capture the electrifying energy of the court, making each play feel larger than life. Though it doesn't follow a traditional narrative, its loose story of legendary players taking to the arcade court to settle scores only adds to its charm. Critically acclaimed for its addictive multiplayer mode and instant pick-up and play fun, NBA Jam quickly became a cultural phenomenon. Its blend of over-the-top sports action and tongue-in-cheek humour has kept it fresh even after decades. Marvel vs. Capcom, 1998. Stepping up to the Marvel vs. Capcom arcade cabinet in 1998 was nothing short of electrifying. From the moment I saw the vibrant hand-drawn sprites bursting with comic book flair, I was hooked. The innovative tag team system, which let me switch fighters mid-combo for jaw-dropping, screen-filling attacks, completely redefined what an arcade brawler could be. I dove into the fast-paced, over-the-top action, delighting in the way Capcom's legendary characters collided with Marvel's iconic heroes and villains. The gameplay was a perfect mix of accessibility and depth, simple enough to pick up in a heartbeat, yet layered with intricate combos and strategic character swaps that kept me coming back for more. I was blown away by the sheer spectacle and humour that the game delivered, which quickly cemented its status as a fan favourite in arcades worldwide. Now, with MAME's faithful emulation, I can recapture that original, high-energy arcade thrill anytime I want to. Marvel vs. Capcom still rocks my world, proving its timeless appeal and earning its spot among the top 100 MAME arcade games. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, 1991. This 1991 arcade beat-em-up invites you and up to 3 friends to team up as Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael in chaotic shell-kicking combat. Instead of merely fighting on the familiar streets of New York, the Turtles are flung across history, battling the Foot Clan on pirate ships, in prehistoric jungles with dinosaurs stomping around, and even on hoverboards through a neon-lit future. Cartoon-inspired graphics and quippy one-liners capture the fun-loving spirit of the TV show, while tight controls and flashy combo attacks keep each brawl feeling intense and satisfying. Every stage bursts with colourful detail and ends in an over-the-top boss showdown against infamous villains like Shredder, Krang, and the mutant duo Tokka and Rahzar. One moment you might be tossing hapless Foot Clan goons straight at the screen and into Shredder's evil grin, and the next you're facing off against a towering boss in a climactic duel. These imaginative scenarios, paired with a heart-pumping soundtrack, ensure that the energy never lets up. Decades later, Turtles in Time still stands tall as a fan-favourite triumph of co-op arcade gaming, a shell-powered thrill ride that refuses to slow down or lose its charm.
They are X-Men!
X-Men, 1992. Konami's X-Men, 1992, didn't just hit arcades, it dominated them. This side-scrolling beat-em-up was a dream come true for comic book fans, letting up to 6 players brawl their way through Magneto's evil forces as Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, and Dazzler. Inspired by the 1989 animated pilot Pride of the X-Men, the game throws players into non-stop action against relentless waves of Sentinels, mutant creatures, and iconic villains like Pyro, Juggernaut, and the White Queen. What made it truly legendary? The massive 6-player arcade cabinet with dual screens, making every battle feel larger than life. Each mutant had their own devastating special moves, giving every character a unique flair in battle. The game became a smash hit, ranking among the top arcade earners of 1992 and cementing its status as a multiplayer masterpiece. Decades later, X-Men still shines on MAME, keeping its electrifying combat and nostalgic charm alive for a new generation of gamers. This isn't just a classic, it's a mutant-powered legend that refuses to be forgotten. Sunset Riders, 1991. Sunset Riders, released by Konami in 1991, is a thrilling side-scrolling run-and-gun arcade game that transports players to the vibrant and chaotic world of the American Wild West. Players choose from 4 distinct bounty hunters: Steve, Billy, Bob, and Cormano, each bringing distinctive flair to the relentless pursuit of outlaws. The gameplay is a dynamic blend of fast-paced shooting and platforming, challenging players to dodge stampeding bulls, fiery explosions, and a barrage of enemy fire. The richly animated stages, from bustling frontier towns to speeding trains, are teeming with adversaries and environmental hazards, ensuring that players must stay alert and responsive. Notably, the game supports up to 4 players simultaneously, fostering a cooperative experience that amplifies the excitement and camaraderie. Upon its release, Sunset Riders garnered positive attention in the arcade scene. In Japan, it ranked as the third most successful table arcade unit in December 1991. The game's engaging mechanics and distinctive Western aesthetic have cemented its status as a beloved classic in arcade gaming history. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, 1993. Capcom's 1993 arcade title, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, offers a quirky blend of classic beat-em-up action set in a post-apocalyptic world where dinosaurs coexist with humanity. Based on Mark Schultz's Xenozoic Tales, the game allows players to choose from 4 characters: the balanced Jack Tenrek, the agile Hannah Dundee, the swift Mustafa Cairo, and the powerful Meso Bradovic. Each character brings distinct abilities to the fight against the Black Marketeers, a group exploiting dinosaurs for profit. The gameplay is engaging, featuring 8 stages filled with diverse enemies and occasional dinosaur encounters. Players can utilize various weapons, including firearms and melee options, adding depth to the combat. The vibrant character illustrations and fluid animations capture the essence of the source material, while the soundtrack complements the action sequences. Despite its popularity in arcades, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs never received official home console ports, likely due to licensing complexities. Today, it remains a cult classic on the MAME, celebrated for its engaging mechanics and cooperative gameplay. The Simpsons Arcade Game, 1991. Ever wanted to brawl through Springfield with the Simpson family? Konami's 1991. The Simpsons Arcade Game turns that fantasy into a quarter-guzzling adventure bursting with cartoon chaos. Up to 4 players team up as Homer, Marge, Bart, and Lisa on a wild quest to save baby Maggie after she's snatched in broad daylight. Each character fights in their own hilarious way. Marge swings a vacuum, Bart skateboards over enemies, Lisa snaps her jump rope, and Homer just barrels through fists first. The action scrolls through iconic Springfield locales, each packed with familiar faces turned foes and over-the-top boss battles. Ever take down a giant crusty balloon? The game's vibrant comic book visuals and non-stop Simpsons humour make it feel like you're playing an episode of the show. Cooperative play even unlocks special team combos, adding strategic zaniness to the mix. Fast-paced, funny, and delightfully chaotic, The Simpsons Arcade Game delivers an unforgettable beat-em-up experience. It perfectly captures the heart of the TV series while keeping players laughing and button-mashing to the end. The Punisher, 1993. Capcom's The Punisher, 1993, delivers pure vigilante justice in one of the most intense arcade beat-em-ups of its era. Playing as Frank Castle or Nick Fury, players punch, shoot, and smash their way through waves of criminals to take down the Kingpin's empire. Unlike typical brawlers, this game amps up the action with a seamless mix of brutal melee combat and gunplay, letting players unleash baseball bats, katanas, and firearms like the MAC-10 or M16 rifle. The comic book style visuals, complete with blam onomatopoeia during shootouts, make every fight feel ripped straight from the pages of The Punisher. From back alley brawls to high-tech crime dens, the game keeps the action relentless with dynamic level designs and over-the-top boss fights featuring villains like Jigsaw and Bushwhacker. Praised for its gripping combat and stylish presentation, The Punisher remains a cult classic. While its Genesis port suffered from heavy downgrades, the arcade version stands as one of Capcom's best beat-em-ups, still delivering hard-hitting thrills today, especially on MAME. Alien vs Predator, 1994. Alien vs Predator is an arcade beat-em-up that threw players into an epic showdown between two of sci-fi's fiercest creatures. Originally conceived as a tie-in to a planned film, the game evolved into an eccentric storyline where players could choose from 4 warriors: cyborg soldiers, Major Dutch Schaefer, and Lieutenant Lin Kurosawa, or two formidable predators. Together, they battled through 7 intense stages to eradicate the xenomorph infestation in Sandrad, California. Gameplay was a thrilling mix of hand-to-hand combat and futuristic weaponry. Players could unleash devastating combos, wield katanas, and fire off shoulder-mounted cannons, all while facing hordes of relentless aliens. The game's fluid controls and cooperative multiplayer mode made it a standout in arcades. Alien vs Predator featured vivid graphics and rich backdrops that captured the eerie atmosphere of the alien universe. The character animations were smooth, and the on-screen action was both chaotic and exhilarating. Critics and players alike praised the game for its engaging gameplay and impressive presentation. Despite never receiving a home console port, it has remained a beloved title among arcade enthusiasts. Its unique blend of iconic characters, cooperative gameplay, and intense action rightfully earn Alien vs Predator a spot on any list of classic arcade games. Shock Troopers, 1997. Shock Troopers, developed by Saurus and released by SNK in 1997, emerged during a period when arcade gaming was at its zenith, reflecting the era's fascination with military-themed action and cooperative gameplay. The game's narrative centers on a group of elite mercenaries tasked with rescuing a kidnapped scientist and his granddaughter from the nefarious Bloody Scorpions terrorist organization. This storyline taps into the late 20th century pop culture's preoccupation with counter-terrorism and elite special forces, themes prevalent in both cinema and interactive entertainment of the time. The game offers 2 modes: Lonely Wolf, where you control a single character, and Team Battle, allowing you to switch among a trio of soldiers on the fly. This flexibility, combined with branching paths through mountain, jungle, or valley routes, ensures a fresh experience with each playthrough. The responsive controls and diverse arsenal, including machine guns, flamethrowers, and grenades, keep the adrenaline pumping. Critics and players alike praised its engaging gameplay and replayability. The game's enduring appeal led to its inclusion in compilations like SNK Arcade Classics Volume 1 and re-releases on platforms such as the PlayStation Network and Nintendo Switch. Its balanced difficulty and cooperative play options have cemented its status as a classic in the genre. WWF WrestleFest, 1991. Step into the arcade halls of the early 90s, and you'd likely encounter the vibrant spectacle of WWF WrestleFest. Developed by Technos Japan, this game captured the larger-than-life personas of the World Wrestling Federation, offering players an immersive wrestling experience. With a roster featuring legends like Hulk Hogan, The Ultimate Warrior, and Million Dollar Man Ted DiBiase, fans could engage in 2 main modes: the chaotic Royal Rumble and the tag team gauntlet of Saturday night's main event. The game's appeal lay in its accessible yet engaging gameplay, allowing up to 4 players to brawl simultaneously. Each wrestler boasted distinctive moves, adding depth and strategy to the matches. The colourful, cartoonish graphics and digitized voiceovers enhanced the overall presentation, making each bout feel like a live WWF event. WWF WrestleFest stood out for its ability to capture the essence of professional wrestling, blending entertainment with competitive gameplay. Its enduring popularity is evident, as it remains a beloved title among retro gaming enthusiasts and wrestling fans alike. Galaga, 1981. When discussing the pantheon of arcade classics, Galaga invariably commands a prominent place. Emerging during the golden age of arcade games, this fixed shooter built upon the foundation laid by its predecessor, Galaxian, introducing enhancements that captivated players worldwide. At its core, Galaga challenges players to pilot a starfighter, fending off successive waves of insect-like alien adversaries. A standout feature was the dual fighter mechanic. Certain boss enemies could capture the player's ship using a tractor beam, and, if the player managed to liberate it, they were rewarded with doubled firepower, significantly enhancing their offensive capabilities. In terms of appearance, Galaga was a feast for the eyes. Its lively, colourful graphics and smooth animations set it apart from contemporaries, offering a more immersive experience. The inclusion of challenging stages, where enemies didn't retaliate, provided players with opportunities to amass bonus points, further enriching the gameplay. Galaga's influence extends beyond the arcade. It has permeated popular culture, appearing in films and being referenced in various media, cementing its status as a timeless classic that continues to resonate with audiences today. Neo Turf Masters, 1996. In the mid-90s arcade scene, Neo Turf Masters emerged as a standout title that transformed the traditional game of golf into an exhilarating experience. Developed by Nazca Corporation, also known for the Metal Slug series, this 1996 release offered a fast-paced arcade-style approach to golf, making it accessible and engaging for a wide audience. Players could choose from 6 distinct golfers, each with special attributes, and compete across 4 diverse courses set in the USA, Japan, Germany, and Australia. The game's intuitive 2-click swing system simplified controls without sacrificing depth, allowing players to focus on strategy and shot execution. Neo Turf Masters captured the spirit of each international course with its vivid visuals, intricate graphics, and smooth animations. The immersive experience was further improved by the lively soundtrack and clear sound effects. The game's design emphasized quick, competitive play, aligning with the arcade culture of the time. Its enduring appeal is evident, as it has been re-released on various platforms, including the Nintendo Switch and mobile devices, allowing a new generation of players to enjoy its timeless gameplay. Pac-Man, 1980. In the early 1980s, when arcades were dominated by space shooters and combat games, Pac-Man emerged as a refreshing anomaly. Developed by Namco and designed by Toru Iwatani, the game introduced a non-violent maze chase concept that quickly captivated players worldwide and became a cultural phenomenon. Players navigate Pac-Man, a vibrant yellow character, through a maze filled with dots and power pellets, all while evading 4 colourful ghosts. Consuming a power pellet temporarily turns the ghost blue, allowing Pac-Man to eat them for bonus points. This simple yet engaging gameplay loop contributed to the game's widespread appeal. Beyond the arcade, Pac-Man permeated popular culture, inspiring merchandise, a television series, and even a hit song. Its influence extended to game design, introducing concepts like power-ups and non-linear gameplay. The game's ability to attract a diverse audience, including a significant female player base, marked a pivotal shift in the gaming industry's demographics. Today, Pac-Man is celebrated not just as a game, but as a cultural milestone that reshaped the landscape of interactive entertainment. Donkey Kong, 1981. In the early 1980s, Nintendo faced a pivotal challenge. Their arcade game Radar Scope had underperformed, leaving the company with surplus hardware and dwindling prospects in the North American market. Seizing this opportunity, a young designer named Shigeru Miyamoto was tasked with creating a new game to revitalize the company's fortunes. Drawing inspiration from classic tales like Beauty and the Beast and the iconic King Kong, Miyamoto conceptualized a game centered around a carpenter's quest to rescue his girlfriend from a rebellious ape. This creative endeavor led to the birth of Donkey Kong in 1981. In Donkey Kong, players navigate the protagonist, originally known as Jumpman, later named Mario, through a perilous construction site filled with rolling barrels and treacherous obstacles. The game's multi-level design and narrative depth were groundbreaking, introducing storytelling elements to the gaming experience. The character dynamics, influenced by Miyamoto's initial intention to license Popeye characters, resulted in a love triangle reminiscent of classic comic strips. The success of Donkey Kong not only salvaged Nintendo's position in the arcade industry, but also laid the foundation for the company's future endeavors. It marked the debut of Mario, who would become one of the most recognizable figures in gaming history. Mortal Kombat 1992. Mortal Kombat emerged from a compact team of 4 developers at Midway, who crafted the game within a brisk 10-month period. Their innovative approach utilized digitized actors, a technique that endowed the game with a distinctive visual realism, setting it apart from its contemporaries. Mortal Kombat also introduced a unique 5-button control scheme and gory finishing moves called fatalities, which became a hallmark of the series. Their visual approach, combined with its intense violence, sparked significant controversy and discussions about video game content. The outcry over its graphic nature played a pivotal role in the establishment of the Entertainment Software Rating Board, ESRB, a regulatory body responsible for assigning age and content ratings to video games. Mortal Kombat's impact extended beyond the arcade, influencing popular culture and leading to numerous sequels, films, and merchandise. Its legacy is evident in modern gaming collaborations, such as the recent integration of iconic characters like Sub-Zero and Scorpion into Fortnite, showcasing the franchise's enduring appeal and adaptability. Today, Mortal Kombat retains its visceral appeal when played on the multiple arcade machine emulator, MAME. The emulator faithfully replicates the original arcade experience, preserving the game's responsive controls and distinctive audio-visual elements. This authenticity allows both veterans and newcomers to appreciate the game's enduring mechanics and stylistic nuances, underscoring its status as a seminal title in the fighting game genre. Tekken 3, 1997. Tekken 3, released in 1997, is a monumental entry in the fighting game genre. Elevating the series to new heights, developed by Namco, it introduced significant advancements that resonated with both arcade enthusiasts and home console players. Building upon its predecessors, Tekken 3 enhanced the 3-dimensional fighting mechanics by refining the sidestep feature, allowing players to dodge attacks with greater fluidity. This iteration also introduced a roster of new characters, including Jin Kazama and Ling Xiaoyu, each bringing distinctive fighting styles that diversified gameplay strategies. The game's impact was profound in arcades, with units becoming fixtures in gaming centers worldwide. Its subsequent release on the PlayStation console expanded its reach, selling over 8 million copies globally and solidifying its status as one of the best-selling titles for the platform. Decades later, Tekken 3 remains a beloved classic, often highlighted in retrospectives of top PlayStation games. Its influence is evident in subsequent fighting games, with many adopting its mechanics and character depth. The King of Fighters, 1998. Departing from the series' ongoing story arcs, KOF 98 presents a dream match scenario, uniting a vast roster of 38 fighters from previous installments without the constraints of storyline continuity. This approach allows players to craft teams from their favorite characters, offering unparalleled flexibility and fostering diverse gameplay strategies. KOF 98 refines the series' signature 3-on-3 team battles, offering players a choice between 2 distinct fighting styles, Advanced and Extra. This flexibility caters to various playstyles, enhancing strategic depth. The game's roster boasts a staggering 51 characters, each meticulously balanced to ensure competitive integrity. KOF 98's visuals, which feature intricate sprite movements and colourful backdrops, demonstrate SNK's dedication to excellence. The stages are dynamic, with subtle changes between rounds, immersing players in diverse locales that range from bustling urban settings to serene landscapes. Upon its release, KOF 98 garnered critical acclaim for its refined mechanics and expansive character selection. Fans and critics alike hailed it as one of the pinnacle entries in the series. Its enduring popularity led to updated versions, such as The King of Fighters 98, Ultimate Match, which introduced additional characters and features, further cementing its legacy. Final Fight, 1989. Final Fight stands as a powerhouse of arcade brawling that redefined urban combat. Conceived as a bold expansion of Capcom's creative vision, the game plunges players into the gritty underworld of Metro City, where the vicious Mad Gear Gang runs amok. A dramatic kidnapping ignites a high-stakes rescue, pitting three formidable heroes, Cody, Guy, and Mayor Hager, against an endless barrage of street thugs. Its controls are deceptively simple yet demand precision, rewarding every punch and combo with satisfying impact. The hand-drawn, lively sprites and meticulously crafted backdrops create an immersive, cinematic experience that brings the city's chaos to life. Cooperative multiplayer amplifies the thrill as friends join forces to clear the urban battleground. Even today, when experienced on MAME, Final Fight exudes an electrifying charm that keeps adrenaline levels soaring. Its seamless blend of accessible gameplay and raw, unpolished action not only cemented its legacy in arcade history, but continues to captivate modern audiences. This timeless classic remains a vital part of gaming culture, a benchmark of beat-em-up excellence. Samurai Shodown, 1993. Step into a world where steel clashes with spirit, and ancient warriors reclaim the honor of Bushido in Samurai Shodown, 1993. Developed by SNK, this revolutionary fighting game broke away from the rapid-fire beat-em-ups of its era, favoring measured duels that emphasize precision and strategy. Each character, with their meticulously crafted fighting style and distinctive weaponry, embodies the rich traditions of feudal Japan. While delivering visceral, cinematic combat, the plot is woven with myth and honor, pitting stoic heroes against formidable adversaries in battles that feel both personal and epic. Samurai Shodown is a visual feast that continues to appeal to gamers of MAME today because of its intricate character animation and moody backgrounds that perfectly depict the distinct aesthetic of the time. Its thoughtful blend of realistic movements and artistic flair has influenced countless titles that prize tactical depth and cultural storytelling. Celebrated by critics and cherished by fans, Samurai Shodown is a timeless tribute to martial arts and a must-play arcade classic. Raiden Fighters 2, 1997. Raiden Fighters 2 is a shoot-'em-up that still impresses, even if it doesn't quite hit perfection. I appreciate its relentless action and the depth offered by its diverse fighter craft and upgradable weapons. The intricate bullet patterns and fast-paced co-op mode create a satisfying, adrenaline-charged experience that pushes your reflexes to the limit. However, the game isn't without its faults. The difficulty level often feels unforgiving, making progress more about memorization than strategic finesse. At times, the enemy formations become predictable, and what should be a dynamic challenge starts to feel repetitive. Although the lively, cartoonish graphics visually evoke an arcade appeal, they sometimes fall short of the sophistication anticipated from contemporary remasters on platforms such as MAME. In short, Raiden Fighters 2 stands out for its innovative design and intense gameplay that defined a genre. Yet, its steep learning curve and occasional monotony remind you that even arcade classics can benefit from a bit more polish. Despite its shortcomings, it remains a must-play title for fans seeking that raw, vintage shooter experience. (1943) The Battle of Midway, 1987. In 1987, Capcom unleashed 1943, The Battle of Midway, a vertical scrolling shooter that took arcade enthusiasts by storm. Building upon the success of its predecessor, 1942, this sequel plunged players into the heart of World War II's Pacific Theatre, specifically the pivotal Battle of Midway. Gamers commandeered the iconic P-38 Lightning, embarking on a mission to decimate the Japanese naval and aerial forces. The gameplay was a thrilling test of reflexes and strategy. Players navigated through relentless waves of enemy aircraft and naval vessels across 16 stages, culminating in a showdown with the formidable battleship Yamato. Innovations like special lightning attacks and a fuel meter that doubled as a health bar added layers of depth, setting it apart from typical shooters of the era. 1943 was exceptional in terms of appearance. Players were fully immersed in the mood of the war because of its dynamic backdrops and intricate graphics, which brought the fierce aerial fights to life. The game's soundtrack, composed by a talented team including Kumi Yamaga and Manami Matsumai, provided an energetic backdrop that kept the adrenaline pumping. Upon release, 1943 garnered critical acclaim and commercial success. It topped arcade popularity charts in Japan and became the country's second highest-grossing table arcade game of 1987. Its challenging gameplay and cooperative mode ensured its status as a beloved classic. WWF Superstars, 1989. WWF Superstars is an arcade wrestling game that captures the over-the-top spectacle of professional wrestling in a way few titles do. Developed by Capcom during wrestling's peak popularity, it plunges players into intense, fast-paced brawls featuring larger-than-life personas like Hulk Hogan, The Ultimate Warrior, and other iconic figures. In the game, competitors face off in dramatic tag team matches, complete with signature moves and flashy finishes that evoke the excitement of live events. The controls are intuitive, yet mastering each wrestler's unique abilities, whether it's executing a devastating suplex or unleashing a crowd-pleasing special move, requires skill and timing. The digitized sprites burst with personality, perfectly capturing the flamboyant style of late 80s wrestling, while the energetic soundtrack amplifies every slam and cheer. Critically, WWF Superstars was celebrated for its immersive presentation and engaging multiplayer action, securing its reputation as a memorable arcade experience. Darkstalkers, The Night Warriors, 1994. Darkstalkers, The Night Warriors is like the love child of horror movies and fighting games, a bizarre, blood-splattered carnival where vampires, werewolves, and every other nocturnal misfit come out to play. Forget the usual bland tournament story. Here, ancient creatures duke it out for reasons only they could justify, making it as absurd as it is engaging. The game flips standard fighting tropes on their head. While most fighters are stuck with cookie-cutter moves, our supernatural heroes unleash quirky, over-the-top attacks that seem designed to both impress and raise an eyebrow. Imagine a vampire with a penchant for dramatic flair, or a werewolf whose moves are as wild as his hair. The title's artwork is a masterwork of dark, gothic colours and painstakingly crafted graphics, resembling a midnight doodle session gone horribly wrong. The fluid animations and explosive special moves elevate every match to a mini opera of chaos. Even if some moves feel as overpowered as a secret cheat code, it only adds to the tongue-in-cheek fun. Darkstalkers is a satirical, self-aware brawler that both mocks and honours the fighting game genre, making it an essential classic on MAME. Gunforce 2, 1994. Gunforce 2 injects adrenaline into every pixel, delivering a relentless run-and-gun experience that's reminiscent of mid-90s arcade innovation. Set in a dystopian future where mechanized foes and mercenary forces threaten humanity's last bastions, players assume the role of a battle-hardened soldier on a mission of survival. The narrative is straightforward yet compelling, a no-nonsense campaign against overwhelming odds that sets the stage for explosive action. What really sets this shooter apart is its impeccable blend of speed, strategy, and style. Every stage is a carefully crafted gauntlet of enemy waves and environmental hazards, demanding swift reflexes and precise timing. The detailed, lively graphics and fluid animations create an immersive battlefield that feels both futuristic and gritty. A diverse arsenal, from rapid-fire guns to heavy ordnance, ensures that combat never grows stale, keeping adrenaline levels consistently high. Though its punishing difficulty can be a double-edged sword, it's a challenge that rewards perseverance. On MAME, Gunforce 2's seamless emulation preserves the raw intensity and nostalgic charm that originally captivated arcade audiences, securing its rightful spot among the genre's timeless classics. Dead Connection, 1992. Dead Connection, 1992 presents a darker twist on the traditional beat-em-up formula, offering a more nuanced storyline amid a decaying urban landscape. The story follows a band of vigilantes determined to dismantle a web of corruption and organised crime, a premise that, while straightforward, carries an undercurrent of moral complexity rarely seen in similar titles of the era. The gameplay employs classic side-scrolling combat with an emphasis on precision and timing. Standard punches, kicks, and special moves are supplemented by strategic weapon pickups, making each encounter a test of reflexes and planning. Compared to industry benchmarks like Final Fight, its difficulty level registers in the upper quartile, appealing to those who relish a tougher challenge. Graphically, Dead Connection distinguishes itself with meticulously drawn pixels and a muted colour palette that reinforces its grim setting. Although not as visually refined as some contemporaries, its aesthetic is consistent and immersive. Overall, the game's blend of immersive storytelling, challenging mechanics, and distinctive visuals ensures its enduring legacy, making it a noteworthy entry on modern emulation platforms like MAME. The Cliffhanger, Edward Randy, 1990. In 1990, Data East unveiled The Cliffhanger, Edward Randy, an arcade tour de force that thrust players into a relentless, high-octane adventure, reminiscent of classic action cinema. Set in a 1930s European backdrop, the tale follows the daring escapades of Edward Randy, an intrepid adventurer inadvertently entangled in a perilous quest. When Charlotte, granddaughter of a defector scientist, seeks refuge with Edward, they become targets of the nefarious Dark Ogre and his paramilitary forces, all vying for a coveted prism stone linked to a devastating weapon. The game's development was spearheaded by Minoru Sano, with Hiro Nakamura as the designer, and drew inspiration from iconic film franchises like Indiana Jones and anime such as Lupin III. This influence is evident in its cinematic presentation and dynamic set pieces. Players wield a versatile whip, allowing for attacks in multiple directions and interactions with the environment, such as swinging between platforms and commandeering vehicles. The action is continuous, with automatic scrolling propelling the story through diverse scenarios, from high-speed chases atop moving vehicles to intense aerial battles on descending airplanes. Visually, Edward Randy was ahead of its time, showcasing impressive character designs and layered backgrounds that created a pseudo 3D effect, enhancing the immersive experience. Despite its innovative gameplay and graphical prowess, the game remained relatively obscure, partly due to limited home console adaptations. Today, it stands as a testament to Data East's ambition, offering a unique blend of storytelling and action that continues to captivate retro gaming enthusiasts. Armored Warriors, 1994. Armored Warriors bursts onto the scene with a gritty, futuristic twist that sets it apart from typical beat-em-ups. Developed by SNK in 1994, this Neo Geo gem transports players into a dystopian world where rogue factions and corrupt forces rule over industrial wastelands. In this high-octane brawler, combatants don high-tech armor and quirky weaponry to battle through relentless waves of enemies. Each character has a distinct fighting style that demands both precision and strategy, making every match feel like a choreographed dance of destruction. The visual presentation is a striking blend of metallic textures and vivid colors, with fluid animations that bring explosive action to life. While its storyline may lean on familiar post-apocalyptic tropes, the atmosphere is elevated by immersive sound design and memorable boss encounters. Critics appreciated its innovative mechanics and challenging difficulty, even if some felt the storyline could use deeper layers. Today, Armored Warriors endures as a cult classic on platforms like MAME, proving that its raw, unfiltered combat and distinct aesthetic continue to resonate with fans of arcade action. Battle Circuit 1997. Battle Circuit 1997 offers a taste of cybernetic chaos for anyone who's ever dreamed that an arcade was a portal to a dystopian future. This game catapults players into an over-the-top tournament where warriors from every dimension duke it out with moves that'd make even a superhero raise an eyebrow. With a story as deep as a kiddie pool, the plot barely scratches the surface of a world where technology and martial arts collide. Because who needs a convoluted plot when pixelated punches speak for themselves? Combat is fast, furious, and cleverly varied, with each fighter flaunting a distinctive mix of melee and ranged attacks that combine the precision of a martial artist with the unpredictability of a malfunctioning robot. The visuals burst with vibrant neon hues and meticulously animated sprites, delivering a cyberpunk feast that still dazzles on modern emulators like MAME. Sure, it leans into every cliché of futuristic fighting games, but that only adds to its quirky charm. While the difficulty can be as punishing as a gym trainer on leg day, Battle Circuit remains a breathtaking, light-hearted blast from the past that continues to electrify arcade enthusiasts. Rushing Heroes 1997. Rushing Heroes is a 1997 arcade football game developed by Konami that brings the gridiron to life with an arcade twist. Players select from various teams and engage in fast-paced, 3D-rendered matches that emphasize action over simulation. Departing from traditional football simulations, Rushing Heroes focuses on high-octane gameplay. The controls are intuitive, allowing players to execute plays, passes, and tackles with ease. The game's pace is accelerated, with shorter quarters and rapid play execution, catering to the arcade environment where quick, engaging experiences are paramount. The game features fully animated, computer-generated rendering, presenting large characters and a 3D field perspective view. This visual approach provides a dynamic and immersive experience, capturing the intensity of football in a visually appealing manner. While Rushing Heroes may not have achieved the enduring fame of some contemporaries, it remains a notable entry in the sports arcade genre. Its emphasis on fast-paced action over detailed simulation offers an eccentric experience, reflecting Konami's innovative approach to sports games during the late 1990s. Demon Front 2002. Demon Front 2002 transports players to a grim future where demonic forces and advanced technology collide. Conceived as an ambitious fusion of classic arcade shooter mechanics and a dark sci-fi saga, the game's creation was driven by a desire to reinvent the rail shooter genre for a modern audience. Set in a dystopian world on the brink of collapse, players pilot a cutting-edge fighter craft to thwart an otherworldly invasion, an endeavour steeped in mysterious lore and apocalyptic intrigue. The plot hints at a forgotten technological relic capable of unleashing catastrophic power, a MacGuffin that both demonic entities and humanity desperately seek. Gameplay is a high-stakes dance through intricately designed levels, where precision and quick reflexes are essential to dodge relentless enemy fire and chaotic bullet patterns. Vivid, atmospheric backdrops and meticulously animated pixels deliver a visual experience that remains arresting even on modern emulators like MAME. The game's daring blend of horror and futuristic action makes it a unique cult favourite that continues to captivate those who appreciate bold, experimental arcade design. Gundara 1995. Gundara 1995 is a wild, over-the-top mashup that seems to ask, what if every cheesy martial arts flick met a dystopian sci-fi B-movie? Imagine a lone warrior battling an endless horde of high-tech bad guys in a world so bleak it makes your local DMV look like a tropical paradise. The plot is as subtle as a flying brick, revolving around saving honor in a future where everything is either neon or rusted metal. Gameplay, while admittedly a lesson in old-school challenge, feels like a love letter to frustration. Every punch and kick demands pixel-perfect timing, and a single misstep sends you spiraling into a barrage of enemy fire. The controls may not be the sleekest in the modern era, but they deliver that satisfying arcade clunk of combat that true gamers remember fondly. Gundara's aesthetic is a paradox. Intricate, hand-drawn animations clash with a dystopian background to create a look that is equally endearingly vintage and humorously gloomy. Despite its inevitable flaws, this game remains a cult classic on MAME, proving that sometimes the absurdity is the appeal. The Outfoxies, 1995. The Outfoxies, 1995, is a delightfully offbeat arcade brawler that dares to mix anthropomorphic charm with punchy, no-nonsense action. In this quirky world, sly fox heroes take on a nefarious criminal syndicate that's wreaking havoc in a vibrant cartoon-inspired urban jungle. The game's tongue-in-cheek narrative doesn't take itself too seriously. After all, when foxes fight crime, you expect a healthy dose of mischief and irony. Gameplay is brisk and challenging, with responsive controls that reward tight combos and strategic button mashing. Each character flaunts a different fighting style, ensuring that every round feels fresh and unpredictable. The hand-drawn pixels pop against dynamic, colourful backdrops, showcasing a level of artistic flair that makes each level feel like a moving cartoon. While the difficulty can sometimes border on punishing, forcing you to relearn enemy patterns over and over, the sheer fun of cooperative play and the game's irreverent style more than make up for it. Even decades later, the Outfoxies continues to entertain on MAME, proving that a little bit of animalistic mischief and creative design can turn a standard beat-em-up into a timeless cult classic. Nitro Ball, 1992. Nitro Ball is a wild, turbocharged spin on sports gaming that isn't afraid to mix chaos with strategy. This 1992 arcade title throws conventional soccer out the window, instead opting for a futuristic battleground where every pass feels like a shot of adrenaline. The game's innovative concept turns each match into a frenzied contest, complete with unexpected power-ups and explosive effects that keep the action unpredictable and exciting. The controls are generally responsive, delivering that satisfying arcade punch, but they occasionally betray you when precision is needed most. A real headache during critical, fast-paced plays. Visually, the game still manages to impress with vibrant hand-drawn characters and dynamic backgrounds that evoke a neon-drenched future. The soundtrack fuels the intensity, adding a layer of infectious energy that few other sports titles can match. Despite a steep learning curve and moments when the AI feels a bit too predictable, Nitro Ball stands out for its daring reinterpretation of a classic genre. It may not appeal to those seeking realistic simulation, but its sheer audacity and raw arcade energy have cemented its status as a cult favourite. Desert Assault, 1991. Desert Assault, 1991 is a no-holds-barred run-and-gun arcade shooter that thrusts you into a sun-scorched battlefield where every bullet counts. You play as a lone soldier in a vast, arid wasteland, determined to crush an oppressive enemy force with an arsenal that spans machine guns to rocket launchers. The storyline is lean, more a backdrop than a story, but it sets a fitting tone for the relentless, fast-paced action that follows. The gameplay blends on-foot combat with vehicle sequences, keeping you on your toes as you dodge enemy fire and strategically deploy power-ups. Although the controls deliver a solid arcade feel, they can sometimes seem a tad unrefined, and those sudden difficulty spikes may frustrate even the most patient players. Desert Assault is visually stunning, with bright, colourful character graphics that perfectly depicts the harsh desert environment. However, a few of the background designs tend to repeat, slightly dulling the overall impact. Despite these minor flaws, the game's raw energy and engaging mechanics earned it a warm reception in its day. Today, its enduring appeal to MAME confirms that Desert Assault remains a memorable, if imperfect, classic of the arcade era. Osman, 1996. Osman, 1996 is an absurdly entertaining brawler that seems to say, who needs a coherent epic when you can have over-the-top pixelated chaos? In this quirky retelling of ancient legends, you control Osman, a warrior whose determination is matched only by the ludicrous villains he faces. The storyline is a delightful pastiche of historical clichés and B-movie tropes, complete with honor, betrayal, and supernatural shenanigans that never take themselves too seriously. Gameplay is a frenetic side-scrolling romp where precise melee strikes and quirky ranged attacks collide with the randomness of bizarre weapon pickups. It's as if you're simultaneously playing a martial arts demo and browsing a medieval flea market. Although the controls occasionally demand a level of memorization that borders on masochism, the challenge only adds to the game's comical charm. Graphically, Osman embraces its pixelated roots with richly detailed pixels and atmospheric backdrops that evoke a mystical, ancient world, albeit one with a healthy dose of irreverence. Ultimately, this game is a cult classic on MAME, a quirky fusion of satire and action that continues to entertain retro enthusiasts who appreciate a good laugh amid the chaos. Elevator Action Returns, 1995. Elevator Action Returns, 1995, takes the classic espionage formula and cranks it up to 11, delivering a high-octane experience that feels like Die Hard met a skyscraper full of elevators. Players choose from 3 elite agents, Cart Bradfield, Edie Burrett, and Jad the Taff, each bringing unique skills to the mission of thwarting a global terrorist threat. The gameplay masterfully blends shooting and platforming elements, with the iconic elevator mechanics adding strategic depth as players navigate multi-level buildings, neutralize enemies, and retrieve vital data from red doors. The game's pacing and level design encourage both methodical planning and quick reflexes, keeping players engaged throughout. Elevator Action Returns visuals are impressive, with precise sprite art and dramatic landscapes that depict a gritty metropolitan background. The animation is fluid, and the diverse enemy designs keep encounters fresh. The sound design complements the action with fitting music and effects that enhance the immersive experience. Critically, the game received positive attention for its engaging mechanics and presentation. In Japan, Game Machine listed it as the 9th most popular arcade game in May 1995. Retrospectives have praised it as an overlooked classic that deserves recognition alongside its 1983 predecessor. Dynagear, 1994. Dynagear, 1994 is an unapologetically wild arcade shooter that doesn't just break the mold, it pulverizes it. Picture a futuristic battleground where you pilot a heavily armed, vaguely mechanical contraption through dystopian landscapes that seem to have been dreamt up by a sci-fi director on an espresso binge. The storyline is a delightful mishmash of half-baked conspiracies and generic villains, as if someone thought, who needs a coherent plot when you've got explosions? Gameplay is a frantic mix of precise dodging and relentless shooting. Every power-up is a fleeting miracle, giving you a brief taste of superhuman prowess before the next wave of enemies reminds you that nothing in this world is truly reliable. Graphically, the game revels in its nostalgic charm, vivid, chunky graphics, and bold, neon backdrops that manage to stand out. Sure, the plot may be as subtle as a sledgehammer, and the controls occasionally feel like they're designed by committee, but that's all part of the quirky appeal. Dynagear is a raucous, imperfect gem, a cult classic that dares to be ridiculous while delivering non-stop arcade mayhem. Roller Games, 1990. Roller Games, 1990 is an arcade title developed by Konami, inspired by the television show of the same name. Players select one of 6 teams: Los Angeles Thunderbirds, Hot Flash, Rockers, Bad Attitude, Maniacs, or Violators, and engage in roller derby matches that blend racing and combat elements. The game offers a distinctive combination of roller derby racing and hand-to-hand combat. Players control the team's Jetta, aiming to score points by navigating obstacles, performing stunts, and overtaking opponents. The controls are designed to simulate the momentum and physics of roller skating, requiring players to manage speed and direction carefully. Roller Games features rich illustrations and different locales that reflect the atmosphere of the late 80s and early 90s roller derby scene. The game's aesthetic aligns with Konami's signature style from that era, offering a nostalgic experience for players familiar with their other titles. While Roller Games may not have achieved widespread popularity, it has garnered appreciation for its different concept and challenging gameplay. Some players have noted that the platforming aspects can be frustrating due to the slippery controls inherent to the skating mechanics. However, others find this adds a layer of authenticity to the roller skating experience. Strider, Nitanotini. Strider, 1989, remains a towering achievement in arcade action that still captivates with its blend of high-octane speed and graceful acrobatics. Forged in Capcom's creative furnace, the game introduces Strider Hiryu, a sleek, futuristic ninja whose mission is as enigmatic as his swift movements. Rather than relying on lengthy sagas, Strider delivers its story through vivid cinematic cutscenes and atmospheric backdrops that immerse you in a dystopian world of martial prowess and advanced technology. The gameplay is a masterclass in fluidity and precision. Every jump, slash, and wall run feels meticulously choreographed, rewarding players who can harness the game's quirky, responsive controls. The action unfolds with relentless intensity as you navigate perilous levels filled with cunning enemies and formidable bosses, demanding both agility and strategy. Graphically, the game was ahead of its time, showcasing detailed, hand-drawn pixels and dynamic environments that set a new benchmark for arcade visuals. Its iconic soundtrack perfectly complements the adrenaline-fueled gameplay. Even decades later, when revisited on modern emulators like MAME, Strider continues to impress, a timeless classic that elegantly combines style, speed, and substance in a way few games ever achieve. 2-on-2 Open Ice Challenge, 1995. NHL Open Ice 2-on-2 Challenge, 1995, is an arcade-style ice hockey game developed by Midway Games, often described as the hockey counterpart to their popular NBA Jam series. The game lacks a traditional storyline, focusing instead on delivering fast-paced 2-on-2 hockey action, featuring NHL teams and players from the mid-1990s. NHL Open Ice emphasizes arcade-style gameplay over simulation, offering exaggerated moves, power-ups, and high-scoring matches. Players can select from 26 NHL teams, each with star players like Wayne Gretzky, and engage in matches that feature power-ups and cartoon-style checking. The game showcases vibrant, cartoonish graphics typical of mid-90s arcade titles. While not aiming for realism, the visuals effectively convey the game's fast-paced and fun atmosphere. When compared to its contemporaries, NHL Open Ice stands out for its arcade-style approach to hockey, similar to how NBA Jam revolutionized arcade basketball games. While traditional hockey simulations focused on realism, NHL Open Ice prioritized fun and accessibility, carving out a niche for itself in the sports gaming genre. Mystic Warriors, 1993. Mystic Warriors, 1993 is a Konami arcade beat-em-up that attempts to infuse traditional side-scrolling action with a touch of mythic mystique. The storyline is serviceable, set in a world steeped in Eastern legends where a band of heroic warriors battles supernatural foes. Set in a dystopian future, the game follows 5 ninjas, Spyros, Keima, Kojiro, Brad, and Yuri, battling the nefarious Skull Enterprise to liberate their nation. The narrative is straightforward, serving primarily as a backdrop for the action. Players navigate through 9 stages, utilizing an 8-way joystick and 2 buttons for attacking and jumping. Characters wield unlimited shurikens or daggers and can perform melee attacks at close range. The ability to jump between different platform levels and execute slides adds depth to the gameplay. Power-ups, such as increased shooting power and health replenishment, are obtained by defeating specific enemies. The game allows up to 4 players simultaneously, enhancing its cooperative appeal. The game features vibrant, colourful graphics with well-animated characters and diverse environments, which contributes to an engaging and immersive experience. Overall, Mystic Warriors is a nostalgic treat for enthusiasts who appreciate classic beat-em-ups with a quirky mythological twist. Ghouls and Ghosts, 1988. Ghouls and Ghosts, 1988, is a relentless test of skill and perseverance that still commands respect among arcade classics. In this dark medieval fantasy, you step into the armoured shoes of Arthur, a valiant knight battling through swarms of undead and grotesque demons to rescue his beloved. The storyline is straightforward yet atmospheric, setting the stage for a punishing yet immersive experience. Gameplay is notoriously unforgiving, with intricately designed levels that require near-perfect timing to dodge enemy attacks and navigate treacherous traps. Every stage ramps up the difficulty, rewarding those who persist despite the constant barrage of challenges. This steep learning curve has become both a badge of honour and a point of contention among players. Visually, the game was a masterpiece of its era, boasting richly detailed sprites and smooth animations that vividly brought its grim world to life. Its haunting soundtrack and impactful sound effects further enhance the eerie ambience, making every encounter memorable. Despite its brutal difficulty, Ghouls and Ghosts endures as a benchmark for challenging platformers. Garou, Mark of the Wolves, 1999. In 1999, SNK unleashed Garou, Mark of the Wolves, a fighting game that redefined the genre and serves as an example of the company's dedication to innovation. As the 8th installment in the Fatal Fury series, it introduced a fresh cast of characters, with the iconic Terry Bogard being the sole returning fighter. The game's tale unfolds a decade after the fall of crime, Lord Geese Howard, focusing on his son, Rock Howard, who is mentored by Terry. This mentorship adds depth to the storyline, intertwining personal vendettas with the quest for identity. Garou's gameplay mechanics set it apart. The introduction of the Tactical Offense Position and TOP system allows players to select a segment of their health bar to gain offensive advantages, adding strategic depth to each match. The Just Defend mechanic rewards precise blocking with health recovery, encouraging defensive play. The game pushes the boundaries of Neo Geo hardware with its smooth movements and finely detailed visuals. Each character is distinct, and the backgrounds are richly detailed, reflecting SNK's commitment to aesthetic excellence. Upon release, Garou received critical acclaim. Reviewers praised its balanced roster and refined mechanics. PC Mag highlighted its smoother animation and excellent rollback netcode, enhancing the multiplayer experience. In retrospect, Garou, Mark of the Wolves is celebrated as one of SNK's finest achievements. Its innovative systems and compelling characters have left an indelible mark on the fighting game community, ensuring its legacy endures. Willow, 1989. Willow, 1989, adapts the cult classic film into a side-scrolling action-adventure that ambitiously blends platforming with light RPG elements. Drawing players into a pixelated, dark fantasy world, the game casts you as Willow Ufgood, a humble farm dweller turned reluctant hero tasked with rescuing a prophesied child from the clutches of an evil sorceress. The story, while loosely following the film's epic quest, is streamlined to focus on immediate, visceral action rather than intricate storytelling. Gameplay features a mix of melee combat, and magical attacks, with simple controls that allow for quick reflexes amid a series of challenging levels. Players must navigate treacherous terrains, solve basic puzzles, and combat a variety of foes, from goblins to monstrous creatures, each designed with an eye for retro flair. Willow's visuals feature intricate 8-bit pixel art that reflects the gloomy, magical feel of its source literature. Yet several backdrops and animations reflect the limits of the era. While the game's difficulty and somewhat linear design may frustrate modern players accustomed to more dynamic storylines, its nostalgic charm and pioneering blend of genres ensure that Willow remains a noteworthy relic of early video game history, still appreciated by enthusiasts on platforms like MAME. Bubble Bobble is the arcade equivalent of a sugar rush if you ever fancied battling baddies while blowing bubbles and then popping them like cheeky, pixelated balloons. In this whimsical romp, you control two dino buddies, Bub and Bob, whose mission is as straightforward as it is absurd. Trap your enemies in bubbles and burst them, all in the name of rescuing your missing loved ones. It's a storyline so lightweight that even the most epic Save the Princess saga would blush at its simplicity. The gameplay is addictive to the point where high-score chasers and casual players alike can't help but keep coming back for more bubble-blasting mayhem. The controls are intuitive, almost too intuitive, allowing you to float through colourful, single-screen levels with ease. Meanwhile, the graphics are a vibrant celebration of 8-bit artistry, complete with bright, charming illustrations and whimsical backgrounds that scream nostalgia. Sure, the plot may lack depth, and the challenge can be frustrating if you're not a fan of repetitive action, but that's the point. Bubble Bobble is a delightful, witty homage to arcade absurdity, proving that sometimes simplicity and fun are all you really need. Outrun, 1986. Outrun is the arcade game that practically defined the art of driving with style and a healthy dose of nonchalance. Forget those ultra-realistic simulators. Here, you're behind the wheel of a sleek, convertible dream machine that seems to have been designed by a sunset-obsessed madman. The story is simple. Cruise along endless coastal highways, dodge absurd obstacles, and choose your own route through a patchwork of picturesque backdrops. It's like an endless road trip without the annoying pit stops or the risk of running out of gas. The gameplay is as smooth as a perfectly tuned V8, rewarding you with that satisfying rush every time you nail a turn or beat the clock. While critics might scoff at its lack of thematic depth, that's precisely the point. This game is a joyful escape from reality. The graphics, with their vibrant colours and almost poetic simplicity, evoke a dreamy, sun-soaked atmosphere that still holds up today on modern emulators like MAME. Sure, it doesn't simulate real driving, but who cares? Outrun is an iconic, pure arcade experience that celebrates freedom on the open road, all while keeping the fun meter firmly in the red. Blood Bros, 1990. Blood Bros, 1990 is an arcade beat-em-up that offers a classic co-op experience with a gritty urban backdrop. Its storyline, while minimalistic by modern standards, is typical of the genre. Two protagonists embark on a relentless mission to clean up the streets, battling hordes of low-budget thugs and encountering memorable, albeit one-dimensional, bosses along the way. Gameplay mechanics adhere to the traditional formula: fluid, multi-directional movement, a variety of combo attacks, and weapon pickups that momentarily boost your firepower. When compared to industry benchmarks like Final Fight and Double Dragon, Blood Bros delivers competent, if not groundbreaking, action. Its co-op mode is a highlight, fostering teamwork and rapid-fire button mashing that rewards persistent play. Graphically, the game employs detailed 2D pixels and vibrant backgrounds that reflect the era's arcade aesthetic. While its visuals may lack the polish of higher-budget contemporaries, they are executed with enough flair to create an engaging and immersive atmosphere. Overall, Blood Bros maintains a solid user experience characterized by challenging yet accessible gameplay. It remains a cult favorite among retro enthusiasts, earning its place as a noteworthy entry in the beat-em-up genre. Aero Fighters 2, 1994. I still get a rush playing Aero Fighters 2, 1994, like it's fresh out of the arcade. I remember how it transformed the classic vertical shooter formula into something truly exhilarating. Piloting an array of uniquely armed fighter craft through futuristic battlefields, I found that the minimal storyline only served as a cool backdrop for non-stop, adrenaline-fueled aerial warfare. It's all about the challenge, dodging intricate enemy formations and seizing power-ups that make every match a tactical thrill. What really hooked me was the game's precision. The controls feel incredibly responsive, rewarding every skillful maneuver. Compared to similar titles like Raiden Fighters, I've always appreciated how Aero Fighters 2 strikes that perfect balance between challenge and fun, especially when I team up with friends in cooperative play. In terms of appearance, the game continues to wow me with its vivid, realistic visuals and smooth scrolling backdrops, which create a dynamic, immersive feel. Even after all these years, firing it up on MAME revives that authentic arcade excitement. Aero Fighters 2 is a timeless classic that stands out for its polished mechanics and visual flair, keeping me coming back for more. Shadow Force, 1993. Shadow Force, 1993, is an arcade title that refuses to be pigeonholed into one genre. It casts players as members of an elite, futuristic task force, thrust into chaotic urban warfare where every move demands precision and quick thinking. Rather than being weighed down by convoluted plot, the game dives straight into tactical action. Its blend of rapid-fire shooting and close-quarters brawling offers a refreshing mix rarely seen in its contemporaries. The control scheme is crisp and agile, rewarding players with responsive movement and fluid transitions between attacks. A wide array of power-ups and special moves injects unpredictability into each level, ensuring that no two runs are exactly alike. Shadow Force is visually stunning, with beautifully crafted illustrations and layered backdrops that create a gritty, cyberpunk atmosphere. The soundtrack, punctuated by punchy sound effects and a driving beat, further intensifies the on-screen mayhem. Critics have praised its engaging mechanics and visual flair, even if the game sometimes sacrifices thematic depth for relentless action. Robotron, 2084, 1982. Robotron, 2084 catapults you into a dystopian future where robots have apparently decided that humanity is so last millennium. In this 1982 classic, you embody a lone warrior with the audacious mission to rescue the last human family, cleverly named Mommy, Daddy, and Mikey. One can't help but wonder if the developers were subtly hinting at the universal appeal of familial bonds. Or perhaps they just ran out of creative steam after designing relentless hordes of murderous machines. The gameplay is a masterclass in ambidextrous coordination, utilizing a pioneering dual joystick control scheme, one for moving and the other for shooting. This setup ensures that players experience the full spectrum of panic as they navigate swarms of enemies, attacking from every conceivable angle. It's as if the game is a metaphor for modern life, constantly dodging obstacles while trying to maintain some semblance of direction. Visually, Robotron 2084 is a kaleidoscope of neon chaos, with simplistic graphics that somehow amplify the sheer intensity of the experience. The minimalist design serves as a reminder that sometimes less is more, especially when more could induce seizures. In essence, Robotron 2084 is a brutal yet addictive journey into the heart of arcade madness, challenging players to embrace the chaos and perhaps reflect on the perils of a robot uprising. Aliens, 1990. Aliens, 1990, transforms the cinematic terror of James Cameron's blockbuster into a pulse-pounding arcade experience. Forged with a blend of horror and high-octane action, this game lets players assume the roles of gritty colonial marines on a desperate mission to exterminate xenomorphs that infest a doomed colony. Instead of sprawling cutscenes, the narrative is distilled into adrenaline-fueled missions, setting the stage for relentless, coin-operated carnage. Gameplay is pure, unadulterated run-and-gun chaos. With smooth, responsive controls and cooperative multiplayer, players blaze through levels while unleashing a barrage of futuristic weapons. Each stage is meticulously designed to challenge reflexes and strategic thinking as waves of alien enemies and monstrous bosses keep the pressure on. Aliens is a masterpiece in atmospheric design. Detailed, melancholy pixels and dark, scary backdrops convey the film's trademark dread, but vivid explosions and sharp animations provide a touch of arcade fun. Critics praised its balance between faithful adaptation and engaging, fast-paced gameplay, and it quickly earned a loyal following in arcades. Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa, 1992. Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa is a delightful anomaly that redefines the beat-em-up genre with a hearty dose of bovine humour. Emerging from Konami's creative labs in 1992, the game was born from a desire to mix classic arcade brawling with comical Wild West antics. Imagine cowboys, but, well, cows. The story is refreshingly tongue-in-cheek. A ragtag posse of cowboys rides into Moo Mesa to take down dastardly outlaws and restore order to a lawless frontier, all delivered with playful puns and irreverence. Gameplay is a frenetic blend of over-the-top melee combat and cooperative action that nods to the classics like Final Fight, but with a zany twist. Each character flaunts its own quirky moveset, turning every punch and kick into a spectacle of slapstick violence. Visually, the game bursts with lively, cartoon-style animations and cleverly designed levels that evoke a rugged, Wild West world entirely reimagined through a bovine lens. Sure, it may lean on familiar arcade tropes, but its irreverent humour and inventive concept ensure that Moo Mesa remains a cult classic, a quirky blast from the past that still delights on modern emulators like MAME. Bucky O'Hare, 1992. Bucky O'Hare is a gloriously absurd romp where an anthropomorphic green rabbit leads a rebel crew against an army of toads. Because why wouldn't a rabbit want to wage war on amphibians? This offbeat arcade title, based on the cult cartoon, takes the classic Save the World trope and gives it a satirical twist. Instead of endless cutscenes, the game throws you straight into frantic side-scrolling action, where Bucky and his motley band deliver punches, shoot projectiles, and execute gravity-defying leaps, all while defying the laws of rodent physics. The storyline, as quirky as it is, barely pretends to be serious. Its light-hearted tale serves as a backdrop for relentless, combo-driven gameplay that tests your reflexes in ways only arcade classics can. The visuals pop with vibrant, hand-drawn pixels and backgrounds that capture the cartoon's irreverent spirit, immersing you in a universe where heroism is measured in hilarity and high scores. While it borrows heavily from established gaming tropes, Bucky O'Hare does so with a wink and a nod, cementing its status as a delightfully quirky cult classic, still kicking it on MAME. Galaxy Force 2, 1988. Galaxy Force 2 is a luminous relic of arcade shooter excellence, a dazzling testament to 1988's bold, retro spirit. In this interstellar escapade, you pilot a state-of-the-art starfighter, battling waves of alien adversaries with a level of intensity that few modern games can match. The plot, delightfully minimalistic, positions you as the last hope of the Galactic Federation, a role that serves more as a cheeky premise than a fully developed story, allowing the gameplay to take center stage. The controls are crisp and responsive, rewarding precision with a cascade of laser blasts and explosive combos. Every maneuver feels meticulously engineered, evoking the authentic pulse of arcade action. Visually, the game remains a spirited spectacle. Richly animated sprites, dynamic parallax scrolling, and a colour palette that bursts with nostalgia, yet still captivates today. Although its storyline is more of an ambient backdrop than an epic, Galaxy Force 2's refined mechanics and timeless design have cemented its status as a cult classic. Dungeon Magic, 1994. Dungeon Magic, 1994, is a vivid plunge into a fantasy realm where Data East reimagined the beat-em-up genre with a magical twist. Players step into the roles of heroic archetypes, warriors and spellcasters, on a quest to vanquish demonic foes and navigate treacherous, labyrinthine levels. Rather than bogging down in narrative complexity, the game opts for a brisk, action-focused approach that lets players experience pure, unrelenting combat. The control scheme is robust, offering seamless transitions between melee strikes and powerful magical attacks, demanding both quick reflexes and strategic planning. In a comparison to contemporaries like Final Fight, Dungeon Magic distinguishes itself with its integration of elemental magic and intricate level designs that keep encounters unpredictable. Graphically, the game is a treat. Meticulously drawn pixels and atmospheric backgrounds evoke a mysterious, enchanted world, even if the visuals occasionally reveal the constraints of its era. While some critics have noted moments where the challenge becomes steep, the game's cooperative multiplayer mode and immersive aesthetic have earned it a dedicated following. Circus Charlie, 1984. Circus Charlie is a 1984 arcade game developed by Konami, where players control a circus clown named Charlie through various circus-themed minigames. The game was later ported to platforms such as the MSX, Famicom, and Commodore 64. In Circus Charlie, players guide Charlie through 6 different circus acts, including riding a lion through flaming hoops, tightrope walking while avoiding monkeys, jumping between trampolines, hopping from ball to ball, horseback riding with obstacles, and swinging from trapeze to trapeze. Each act requires precise timing and control to navigate the increasing difficulty levels. The game received mixed reviews over the years. Some players appreciated its nostalgic value and simple gameplay mechanics, while others found it less engaging compared to other titles from the same era. Despite varying opinions, Circus Charlie remains a part of gaming history, reflecting the early days of arcade game design and offering a glimpse into the evolution of platformers. King of the Monsters 2, 1992. King of the Monsters 2 is a head-scratching, delightfully absurd arcade brawler that takes giant monster mayhem to a whole new level. In this 1992 sequel from SNK, oversized creatures clash in arenas designed to resemble a demolished metropolis, with every punch and special move sounding like a satirical tribute to cheesy monster movies. The game's storyline is more a carnival of camp than a deep storyline, a hodgepodge of monstrous rivalry and urban destruction that sets the stage for chaotic battles rather than epic drama. The gameplay is built around fast-paced, arena-style combat. Each monster boasts a unique set of moves, from ground-shaking slams to projectile attacks, encouraging players to experiment with varied tactics in one-on-one brawls or tag-team showdowns. While the controls are straightforward and accessible, they lean into the arcade tradition by prioritizing sheer, over-the-top fun over intricate precision. Graphically, the title features vividly colored, hand-drawn characters and destructible environments that capture the retro charm of early 90s arcade aesthetics. Although not as polished as modern fighters, its bold visuals and inventive concept earned it a cult following. Gunbird 2, 1998. Gunbird 2, 1998 is a delightful dose of arcade absurdity that seems to wink at every overused shooter cliché. In a world where heroes never question why their destiny is to blast through hordes of pixelated enemies, this game places you in a whimsical, war-torn realm where magic meets mayhem. You're simply tasked with defeating absurdly oversized bosses while collecting power-ups that look like they were dreamed up during a caffeine-fueled brainstorming session. The gameplay is a roller coaster of tight controls and frantic enemy patterns, rewarding reckless aggression and precise dodges in equal measure. Each character boasts bizarre, special moves that seem more like party tricks than combat skills, perfectly satirizing the endless "if you press the button, magic happens" trope. Graphically, Gunbird 2 dazzles with vibrantly hand-drawn pixels and smooth animations that capture that late 90s arcade charm, even if they occasionally remind you of a cartoon drawn on a napkin. Overall, Gunbird 2 is an irreverent, tongue-in-cheek shooter that celebrates its own absurdity while delivering addictive, challenging action, making it a must-play relic on MAME for those with a taste for quirky, vintage mayhem. Zero Team, 1993. Zero Team transports players into a high-stakes, futuristic battleground where covert operatives wage a clandestine war against global terror. Conceived in 1993 by Konami, this arcade title emerged as a response to the era's growing fascination with elite military units and shadowy conspiracies. The lore tells of a secret organization, the Zero Team, formed by world governments to combat a pervasive network of high-tech insurgents threatening international stability. The gameplay is a dynamic blend of run-and-gun action and tactical beat-em-up elements, challenging players to coordinate swift, precise strikes against relentless enemies. Each member of the elite squad brings a distinctive set of skills, adding depth and strategy to every mission. The controls are responsive and designed for rapid decision-making, making every level feel like a pulse-pounding cinematic showdown. In terms of appearance, Zero Team stands out with finely created graphics and vivid, futuristic backgrounds that show a world on the verge of destruction. Its immersive sound design and atmospheric effects further draw players into its secretive universe. Overall, Zero Team is a testament to Konami's innovative spirit, offering a rich, engaging arcade experience that continues to captivate retro enthusiasts. Dig Dug, 1982. Dig Dug, 1982 is a timeless arcade oddity that turns simple digging into an art form. Developed by Namco, this gem lets you play as a quirky subterranean worker armed with nothing but an air pump and a seemingly endless supply of determination. The goal is as straightforward as it gets. Tunnel through the earth, trap your enemies, namely the bouncy puka and the fiery Figar, and inflate them until they burst in a spectacular pixelated explosion. Visually, Dig Dug stands out with its vibrant, colourful graphics that bring its whimsical underground world to life. The characters' charming designs and the game's catchy tunes contribute to its enduring appeal. Upon release, Dig Dug was met with critical acclaim, praised for its innovative mechanics and engaging gameplay. It became one of the top-grossing arcade games of 1982, solidifying its place in gaming history. Decades later, Dig Dug continues to charm new generations, reminding us that sometimes the simplest concepts, like digging through dirt and popping enemies with an air pump, can lead to timeless fun. Enforce, 1988. Enforce is a 1988 arcade shooter developed and published by Taito. Players control a futuristic armoured vehicle, the AIM, equipped with a plasma cannon and a Gatling gun, navigating through 7 levels filled with enemy tanks and genetically engineered adversaries known as neo-humans. Each level must be completed within a 3-minute time limit, culminating in a boss battle against a fortress. The game features a first-person perspective, with the AIM moving along a predetermined path while players aim and shoot at enemies appearing on the screen. Power-ups, such as missiles, lasers, barriers, and speed boosts, are obtained by defeating specific enemies or rescuing hostages. Enforce utilizes stereoscopic 3D technology, similar to Taito's earlier title Continental Circus, providing an immersive experience with a sense of depth. In Japan, Enforce was well received, ranking as the 6th most successful arcade unit in June 1989, according to the magazine Game Machine. Enforce stands out for its eccentric combination of first-person shooting mechanics and stereoscopic 3D graphics, offering players an engaging and immersive arcade experience that was innovative for its time. Knights of Valor, 1999. Strap on your gauntlets and prepare for an epic clash in Knights of Valor 1999, an arcade brawler that boldly marries the timeless honor of ancient warriors with the high-octane thrill of modern combat. Inspired by Romance of the Three Kingdoms, this arcade gem tossed players into a war-torn landscape, battling warlords and mythical beasts across sprawling stages. You can choose from warrior heroes like Guan Yu or Zhang Fei, each with their distinctive arsenal and fighting style, creating a dynamic tapestry of martial prowess that challenges both reflexes and strategy. The controls are finely tuned, delivering smooth, responsive combat that rewards precision and timing. Visually, Knights of Valor captivates with richly animated sprites and atmospheric backdrops that evoke a medieval landscape full of mystery and ancient grandeur. Its minimalist storytelling allows the gameplay to shine, making each encounter feel like a miniature epic. Although the lore is hinted at rather than fully fleshed out, the game's relentless pace and tactical depth have earned it accolades among arcade enthusiasts. Celebrated on platforms like MAME, Knights of Valor endures as a classic example of innovative design in the fighting genre. Tapper 1983. Tapper is the arcade game equivalent of a caffeinated bartender's day on the job, minus the existential dread. Rather than embarking on a world-saving quest or unearthing ancient relics, you're tasked with serving frosty beverages to a never-ending flood of thirsty patrons. In this light-hearted classic, your destiny is measured by how fast you can pour drinks and snatch up tips before the rowdy customers overrun your bar. The gameplay is a frantic dance of quick reflexes. Slide behind the counter, tap out drinks, and dodge those inebriated critters as they stagger towards the exit. It's a refreshing antidote to the epic narratives dominating the gaming landscape, proving that sometimes the hero's journey is simply about keeping your bar from turning into a full-blown riot. Graphically, Tapper dazzles with its lively, cartoonish characters and a backdrop that screams retro charm, reminiscent of neon-lit nights and all-night diners. While it may not boast a sprawling saga or cinematic cutscenes, its light-hearted, no-frills fun makes Tapper a timeless gem. Burger Time 1982. Burger Time 1982 is a culinary escapade that transforms the mundane task of assembling burgers into an all-out arcade circus. As a chef with little time for Michelin stars, you're forced to dodge sassy pickles and rebellious hot dogs while meticulously stacking buns, patties and cheese to create a towering burger masterpiece. The storyline isn't exactly Shakespeare, but it's refreshingly absurd, a light-hearted reminder that not every game needs to save the world. Sometimes, you just need to serve a well-constructed cheeseburger. Gameplay is a masterclass in frenetic, puzzle-like action. With precise timing and nimble moves, you navigate platforms and trigger cascading ingredient drops, a design choice that's as ingenious as it is chaotic. The controls feel deceptively simple, yet mastering them requires the same dedication as perfecting a secret sauce recipe. Graphically, Burger Time boasts vivid, pixelated art that remains charmingly retro. Its whimsical character designs and catchy sound effects infuse every level with personality. Though it may not boast an epic storyline or cutting-edge mechanics, its unique blend of humour, accessible gameplay, and nostalgic flair secures its place as a beloved arcade classic, even decades later on MAME. Puzzle Bobble 1994. Puzzle Bobble 1994 isn't just a game, it's an exercise in colourful chaos that turns bubble matching into a surprisingly strategic art form. With a premise that seems to ask, what if your childhood pastime became an adrenaline-fueled arcade battle? This title transforms the simple act of shooting bubbles into a symphony of tactical precision and pixelated delight. The gameplay appears straightforward at first. Aim your bubble cannon, match 3 or more, and watch the screen clear in a burst of neon brilliance. Yet beneath this unassuming surface lies a deep reservoir of challenge. One miscalculated shot can send your carefully arranged bubbles into a frenzy, a whimsical reminder that even the simplest ideas can lead to unexpected complications. Graphically, Puzzle Bobble dazzles with detailed, hand-drawn pixels and a visual flair that still holds up on modern displays. It playfully mocks the overly dramatic tales of its contemporaries by keeping its story light, a mere backdrop to the addictive puzzle mechanics. While it may not boast an epic saga or revolutionary controls, its enduring charm and clever design ensure that this bubble-blasting classic remains a beloved staple on every emulator. Mercs 1990. Mercs 1990 is a run-and-gun arcade game developed and published by Capcom. Serving as a sequel to the 1985 title Commando, Mercs allows players to assume the roles of members of Wolf Force, a covert mercenary team tasked with rescuing a former US president from rebels in the fictional African country of Zutula. The game supports up to 3 players simultaneously, each controlling a different member of the team: Joseph Gibson, Player 1, Howard Powell, Player 2, and Thomas Clark, Player 3. Players navigate through 7 stages, utilizing various weapons such as assault rifles, shotguns, grenade launchers, and flamethrowers. The game also features a Mega Crush attack, a limited-use bomb that destroys all on-screen enemies. In certain stages, players can commandeer enemy vehicles to aid in their mission. Upon its release, Mercs was well received in arcades, praised for its intense action and cooperative gameplay. The game was later ported to various home systems, including the Sega Mega Drive, Shot Genesis, which featured both an arcade mode, replicating the original game, and an original mode, with new stages and mechanics. However, the home versions typically supported only single-player gameplay, a notable departure from the arcade's multiplayer experience. Critics have noted that while the game offers a variety of weapons and the ability to control vehicles, the absence of multiplayer functionality in home versions detracts from the overall experience. Despite this, Mercs remains a notable entry in the run-and-gun genre, offering challenging gameplay and a glimpse into early 1990s arcade design. Samurai Shodown 2, 1994. Samurai Shodown 2, 1994 is a rollicking, comical duel fest where the stoic warriors of feudal Japan are back, armed with katana, gritted teeth, and a healthy dose of melodrama that could rival a daytime soap opera. The story, if you can call it that, is a parade of honor and revenge that barely hides its absurdity, because nothing screams epic saga like a bunch of grim, bearded samurai exchanging pithy one-liners mid-battle. The combat is a kinetic ballet of carefully choreographed strikes and parries, with each character flaunting an arsenal of moves that seem designed to outdo one another in cinematic flair. The control scheme is as precise as it is punishing. Every block, every counter, demands your full attention and perhaps a few extra quarters. The sprite work is superb, with meticulously animated fighters and lush, hand-drawn backdrops that transport you to a hyper-stylized vision of ancient Japan, even if it occasionally feels like a beautifully overdone action movie. Samurai Shodown 2 delivers a masterclass in self-aware that both honors and hilariously lampoons the genre's most familiar tropes. Rolling Thunder, 1986. In 1986, Namco unleashed Rolling Thunder, a side-scrolling action extravaganza that had arcade enthusiasts pumping quarters with reckless abandon. Players step into the sleek shoes of Albatross, an elite agent of the World Crime Police Organization and WCPO, on a daring mission to rescue his partner, Layla Blitz, from the nefarious clutches of the Geldra terrorist organization. Armed with a trusty pistol and the occasional upgrade to a rapid-fire machine gun, Albatross navigates through a labyrinth of enemies and obstacles, delivering a gameplay experience that's as challenging as it is exhilarating. Rolling Thunder is renowned for its distinctive character designs and atmospheric settings. The enemies, known as maskers, are memorable for their colourful, hooded appearances, adding a distinctive visual flair to the game. The soundtrack, composed by Junko Ozawa, complements the game's tense and immersive atmosphere. Upon release, Rolling Thunder achieved commercial success in arcades worldwide. In Japan, it ranked among the most popular arcade games in February 1987. In the United States, it was one of the top 4 highest-grossing arcade games of 1987. The game's influence is evident in later titles. For instance, Sega's Shinobi drew comparisons to Rolling Thunder upon its release. Additionally, the cover-based mechanics introduced in Rolling Thunder are considered precursors to those seen in modern cover shooters like Namco's Time Crisis series. Snow Bros. 1990. In 1990, Toplan introduced Snow Bros., a whimsical arcade platformer that quickly became a beloved classic. Players control Nick and Tom, 2 snowmen on a mission to rescue princesses Puri Puri and Poochie Poochie from captivity. The game features 50 fixed screen levels where players throw snow at enemies to encase them in snowballs, which can then be rolled to clear multiple foes. The gameplay is reminiscent of titles like Bubble Bobble, focusing on clearing enemies from each screen. Defeated enemies often drop sushi items for bonus points, and players can collect coloured potions that grant abilities such as increased speed, enhanced snow throwing range, and temporary invincibility. Snow Brothers was well received in arcades, leading to ports on various platforms. The NES version, released in 1991, introduced an eccentric storyline where Nick and Tom were human princes transformed into snowmen by the evil King Scorch. The Sega Mega Drive version, released in 1993, added 20 extra levels and allowed players to control the twin princesses after rescuing them. The game's charming graphics, catchy soundtrack composed by Osamu Ota, and engaging gameplay have contributed to its enduring popularity. In 2022, Snow Brothers was re-released on the Evercade console as part of the Toplan Arcade 1 collection, allowing a new generation to experience this classic title. Cabal, 1988. Imagine a game where your only objective is to mow down an endless horde of faceless soldiers while your protagonist remains as mysterious as a nameless secret agent. Welcome to Cabal, 1988, an over-the-shoulder run-and-gun shooter that revels in arcade absurdity. Rather than weaving an epic saga, Cabal tells you, just keep shooting, dodging, and occasionally throwing a grenade. And honestly, that's half the fun. The gameplay lets you move side to side like a nimble ninja, while independently aiming your weapon. A design choice that forces you to juggle offense and evasion like a circus act gone rogue. What really tickles the nostalgia is its destructible environment. Obliterate a building to reveal a sneaky power-up, because why not? The graphics might be pixelated and simple by today's standards, but they exude a rugged charm that captures the raw essence of classic arcade mayhem. With a cooperative 2-player mode that doubles the chaos, Cabal doesn't pretend to be deep. It just knows how to deliver unfiltered, adrenaline-pumping fun, making it an enduring favourite on modern emulators like MAME. R-Type, 1987. In 1987, IRUM unleashed R-Type, a side-scrolling shooter that has since become a cornerstone of the genre. Players pilot the R9 Arrowhead starfighter, embarking on a mission to thwart the menacing Baido Empire. The game's standout feature is the innovative Force Pod, a detachable, indestructible unit that can be strategically attached to the front or back of the ship, serving both offensive and defensive purposes. R-Type is renowned for its relentless difficulty, demanding precise memorization of enemy patterns and environmental hazards. Each of the 8 meticulously designed stages culminates in formidable boss encounters, requiring players to adapt and strategize continually. The game's deliberate pacing and emphasis on tactical gameplay set it apart from its contemporaries. Visually, R-Type drew inspiration from H.R. Geiger's biomechanical aesthetic, presenting grotesque and intricate enemy designs that evoke a haunting atmosphere. The game's art direction and creature designs have been widely praised, with some noting resemblances to Geiger's work on the Alien franchise. Upon its release, R-Type garnered critical acclaim for its challenging gameplay and visual presentation. It achieved commercial success in arcades worldwide, ranking among the most popular titles of its time. The game's influence is evident in its numerous ports and sequels, solidifying its status as a seminal title in the shoot-'em-up genre. Cisco Heat, 1990. In the bustling arcade scene of the early 90s, Cisco Heat emerged as a title that dared to blend high-octane racing with the authoritative flair of law enforcement. Players found themselves behind the wheel of classic police cruisers, notably the Cadillac Brougham and the Nissan 300Z XZ32, navigating the iconic streets of San Francisco. The game is renowned for its challenging 90-degree turns, steep hills, and the inclusion of famous landmarks such as the Golden Gate Bridge and Chinatown. Players must navigate through traffic, avoid obstacles like trams and roadblocks, and reach checkpoints within a set time limit. The arcade version offered various cabinet types, including upright sit-down and a deluxe unit with motion capabilities, enhancing the immersive experience. The game's design presented a vibrant, albeit exaggerated, depiction of the city, complete with steep hills and sharp 90-degree turns that challenged players' reflexes and timing. While the arcade version garnered attention for its engaging gameplay and immersive cabinet designs, the subsequent home computer ports struggled to capture the same excitement, often receiving mixed reviews from critics. Despite these challenges, Cisco Heat remains a nostalgic piece of arcade history, reflecting the era's ambition to combine innovative gameplay mechanics with familiar urban landscapes. SLY-SPY 1989. Sly Spy is like the arcade's cheeky wink at the world of espionage, a game that seems to ask, why not mix secret agent cool with a dash of pixelated absurdity? Forget intricate plots and deep lore. Here, you're the suave, unnamed spy on a mission to foil the dastardly Council for World Domination, all while engaging in ridiculous shoot-'em-up antics. Enemies pop up in every conceivable scenario, whether you're skydiving from a plane, speeding on a motorcycle chase, or even battling sharks underwater, proving that when it comes to spy action, logic takes a backseat to pure, unadulterated chaos. The gameplay is a delightful cocktail of classic run-and-gun mechanics and over-the-top action. Your trusty pistol may seem like a modest sidekick, but collecting components of the coveted golden gun turns you into a one-man demolition crew, obliterating foes with jaw-dropping cinematic blasts. Graphically, Sly Spy is a vibrant tribute to late 80s arcade aesthetics, with fluid, colourful characters and meticulously animated sequences that pay homage to those vintage Bond flicks. Ultimately, this game is an irreverent romp through spy clichés, serving up a hearty dose of fun and nostalgia that still packs a punch on modern emulators. NARC 1988. NARC 1988 is the arcade equivalent of a hyper-violent cop flick, where the motto seems to be, grab 'em, beat 'em, and do it again. This pixelated romp casts players as a hard-nosed narcotics officer, tasked with taking down an endless stream of low-life criminals and drug peddlers in a city that's as neon-lit as it is morally bankrupt. The narrative is delightfully over the top, more a wink at the excesses of 80s action films than a deep story, making it clear that subtlety never got an invite to this party. Gameplay is a relentless barrage of run-and-gun action, with power-ups that make your arsenal feel like it's been turbocharged by sheer righteous fury. Levels are a chaotic maze of urban back alleys and grimy hideouts, where enemies swarm in predictable yet unforgiving waves. Graphically, NARC bursts with vibrant, chunky illustrations and gritty environments that, even decades later, manage to convey a raw, unpolished intensity. With its unapologetic violence, comical humour, and arcade perfect mayhem, Narc remains a cult classic, a defiant, pixelated rallying cry for purists who still believe in old-school justice.
Here we go.
The main event, 1988. As a gamer with a penchant for retro titles, revisiting Konami's The Main Event, 1988, is akin to stepping into a time capsule of arcade wrestling nostalgia. The game's roster, featuring characters like Conan the Great, a clear nod to Hulk Hogan, and Alan the Empire, reminiscent of Andre the Giant, showcases Konami's cheeky homage to wrestling icons. The oversized action button, which illuminated during pivotal moments, added a tactile excitement, compelling players to mash it fervently during pins or submissions. However, beneath this veneer of innovation lies a gameplay experience that, by today's standards, feels rudimentary. The reliance on a single action button for a multitude of moves often led to unresponsive or unintended actions, making the combat feel more like a button-mashing marathon than a strategic wrestling match. The character animations, while charming, lacked the fluidity and dynamism seen in contemporaries like WWF WrestleFest. Despite these shortcomings, the main event holds a special place in arcade history. Its enthusiastic announcer and the chaotic four-player mode captured the communal essence of arcade gaming. While it may not have aged gracefully in terms of mechanics, its contribution to the wrestling game genre is undeniable, serving as a stepping stone for more refined titles that followed. Pirates, 1994. Pirates, 1994 takes the classic arcade run and gun formula and sails it into familiar yet refreshing waters. In this title, players assume control of a rogue pirate crew tasked with clearing out enemy soldiers from lively themed levels, all while navigating obstacles reminiscent of a swashbuckling adventure. The core gameplay, centered around lateral movement, a separate aiming reticle, and a steady stream of projectiles, delivers an experience that feels both tried and true and playfully remixed with a nautical twist. The game distinguishes itself with its unique pirate motif, colourful sprites, catchy sea shanties, and a set of enemy designs that infuse the action with a light-hearted charm. However, beneath the thematic flair lies a design that borrows heavily from established arcade shooters. Enemy patterns and power-up placements follow predictable rhythms, and while the independent aim control adds some tactical nuance, it rarely veers into territory that feels truly innovative. Still, Pirates earns its stripes by offering a fun, accessible challenge with a distinctly humorous presentation. Its engaging visuals and energetic soundtrack create a nostalgic yet refreshing journey through a pixelated pirate world, ensuring that it remains a memorable entry among arcade classics on platforms like MAME. Alpine Ski, 1982. Alpine Ski, 1982, is a vintage arcade gem that transforms the simple thrill of downhill skiing into a pixelated adrenaline rush. Players steer a determined skier down a snowy slope, dodging trees, rocks, and the occasional mischievous snowman with a precision that feels as challenging as it is nostalgic. Rather than offering an elaborate story, the game throws you straight into the frosty action, where every twist and turn is a test of your reflexes and timing. The controls are crisp and straightforward, inviting players to master the art of perfect turns and daring jumps. While the gameplay may seem rudimentary by modern standards, its charm lies in its purity. There's no fuss, just the exhilarating pursuit of a high score. The graphics, though simple, burst with vibrant 8-bit hues that conjure an enchanting winter wonderland, complete with scrolling slopes and snow-covered obstacles. Critically, Alpine Ski captured the hearts of arcade enthusiasts with its addictive simplicity and pure, unadulterated fun. Even decades later, this classic remains a beloved staple on MAME, reminding us that sometimes the simplest adventures can be the most enduring. Jungle Hunt, 1982. In the vibrant arcade era of the early 1980s, Jungle Hunt emerged as a notable title, inviting players to step into the shoes of a daring explorer on a mission to rescue his beloved from cannibals. The game unfolds across 4 distinct stages, each presenting new challenges that test players' timing and reflexes. The adventure begins with vine-swinging sequences, where players must time their jumps between swinging vines to avoid perilous falls, a mechanic that, while straightforward, requires precise timing. Subsequent stages involve navigating crocodile-infested rivers, dodging rolling boulders, and, finally, outmaneuvering spear-wielding cannibals to save the damsel in distress. Visually, Jungle Hunt was a product of its time, featuring simple yet colourful graphics that effectively conveyed the jungle setting. The character animations, though rudimentary by today's standards, were expressive enough to engage players in the unfolding adventure. The game's sound design, including the iconic Tarzan-like yell in its original iteration, added to its charm and immersion. Originally released as Jungle King, the game featured a Tarzan-like character clad in a loincloth. However, due to copyright issues, Taito rebranded the game as Jungle Hunt, modifying the protagonist to an explorer wearing a pith helmet and safari outfit, and replacing the Tarzan yell with a different tune. While Jungle Hunt may not boast the complexity of modern games, its straightforward mechanics and nostalgic charm continue to resonate with retro gaming enthusiasts. The game's contribution to the early platforming genre and its ability to offer diverse gameplay experiences within a single title have cemented its place in gaming history. Aquajack, 1989. In the grand tradition of 1980s arcade games, where plotlines were as scarce as hovercrafts in the Sahara, Aquajack, 1989, emerges as a testament to the era's penchant for vehicular mayhem. Players find themselves at the helm of a heavily armed hovercraft, because why not combine the serenity of water travel with the explosive potential of heavy artillery? The mission, shrouded in the kind of ambiguity that only arcade games can muster, involves traversing 8 perilous levels filled with enemy helicopters, boats, planes, and tanks, all seemingly irked by your aquatic joyride. Gameplay is a frenetic blend of shooting and dodging, with your hovercraft equipped with a cannon boasting unlimited ammunition. Clearly, ammo conservation is for lesser heroes, and a limited supply of bombs for those special moments when overkill is just right. The hovercraft's ability to jump adds a platforming twist, allowing players to leap over obstacles and incoming fire with the grace of a ballerina on a battlefield. Visually, Aquajack employs pseudo-3D graphics that, for its time, were quite impressive, offering a sense of depth as you navigate both water and land terrains. The environments, while not particularly varied, are rendered with a level of detail that keeps the action engaging. In essence, Aquajack is a quintessential arcade experience, straightforward, challenging, and unapologetically fun. It may not have the thematic depth of contemporary titles, but its relentless action and remarkable hovercraft mechanics make it a memorable entry in the annals of arcade shooters. The Gladiator, 2003. The Gladiator, 2003, is a fascinating relic from the early 2000s that marries visceral hack-and-slash action with a splash of cinematic drama. This title plunges players into a brutal, ancient arena where honour is earned by slicing through foes with a precision that's as unforgiving as it is satisfying. Drawing on the mythos of gladiatorial combat, the game crafts a storyline that's more atmospheric than elaborate. A gritty, blood-soaked tale that favours adrenaline over verbose storytelling. The combat system is its heart and soul, a robust blend of melee strikes, parries, and special attacks that require razor-sharp reflexes and tactical timing. Controls are generally responsive, though there are moments when the fixed camera can feel a bit too rigid during frantic skirmishes. Visually, the Gladiator impresses with detailed character models and moody, immersive environments that evoke the grandeur and decay of ancient colosseums. While some graphical textures may appear dated by today's standards, the overall aesthetic still manages to transport you back to a time when every battle was a life or death spectacle. In sum, the Gladiator offers a compelling, if occasionally flawed, experience, a worthy homage to the timeless art of combat that continues to resonate with enthusiasts of historical action. Guardians, 1995. Guardians, 1995, catapults you into a dystopian future where valor is measured by the caliber of your firepower and the speed of your reflexes. In this arcade shooter, players take control of a high-tech battle machine tasked with fending off an unyielding alien menace that threatens the very fabric of civilization. The plot, sparse yet evocative, sets the stage for relentless combat without drowning you in exposition, a refreshing nod to the era's penchant for minimalism. The gameplay is brisk and unforgiving, demanding precision as you dodge, weave, and blast your way through meticulously designed levels. Every stage presents a new gauntlet of enemy formations, with power-ups and weapon upgrades that add strategic layers to the chaos. While it adheres to classic shooter mechanics, Guardians distinguishes itself with its fluid controls and a sense of urgency that keeps your adrenaline surging. Graphically, the game boasts vibrant, detailed sprites and dynamic scrolling backdrops that immerse you in a world teetering on the edge of collapse. The punchy sound effects and energetic soundtrack further elevate the experience. Though not revolutionary, Guardians exemplifies mid-90s arcade craftsmanship, earning its place as a beloved relic among retro enthusiasts. Heavy Smash, 1993. Stepping into the arcade hall, I was immediately drawn to Heavy Smash, 1993, a title that promised a futuristic twist on traditional sports. Developed by Data East, this game thrust players into a high-octane version of handball, where armoured athletes from various nations clash in intense matches. While choosing my team, I was struck by the distinct armour designs reflecting each nation's heritage. Japan's samurai-inspired gear and the USA's football-esque attire stood out. The objective was straightforward: outscore the opposition by any means necessary, including aggressive tackles and special moves. The gameplay was exhilarating. The arena's enclosed design meant the ball never went out of play, keeping the action continuous. Mastering the controls, I executed powerful shots, strategic passes, and bone-crunching tackles. The ability to charge a power gauge for devastating special shots added a thrilling layer of strategy. Reflecting on my experience, Heavy Smash encapsulated the essence of arcade sports games from the 90s. Its blend of fast-paced action, unique team designs, and strategic depth ensured that I left the arcade both challenged and entertained. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, 1985. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, 1985, is a relic of arcade adventure that, despite its dated mechanics, still manages to evoke a sense of daring exploration. Developed by Atari as a tie-in to the cult classic film, this game catapults players into a treacherous world filled with trap-laden temples, perilous chasms, and nefarious foes. Its narrative is straightforward: rescue, escape, repeat. But it carries the unmistakable charm of a bygone era when a simple quest could feel as epic as any blockbuster. The gameplay is a blend of platforming and action, demanding precise timing and a steady nerve as you navigate through labyrinthine levels. While the controls are undeniably clunky by modern standards, they add an authentic, if frustrating, layer of challenge that reminds you why every success felt so hard-won. Graphically, the game relies on colourful, blocky pixels that capture the essence of jungle ruins and exotic locales, even if they lack today's polish. Sound effects and a catchy, if repetitive, score enhance the overall immersion. Though Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom may not offer the depth or fluidity of modern titles, its nostalgic value and uncompromising difficulty make it a cherished classic. Congo Bongo, 1983. Congo Bongo is an absolute blast from the past. A wild, untamed romp through an exotic jungle where pixelated adventurers swing, climb, and brawl their way to glory. Developed in 1983 by Sega, it's like a roller coaster ride through a lively, chaotic rainforest, where you control a daring explorer navigating treacherous terrain, dodging pitfalls, and outsmarting mischievous wildlife. What sets Congo Bongo apart isn't just its energetic gameplay, but its unapologetically quirky presentation. The graphics burst with colourful, cartoonish charm, and the ingeniously designed levels, complete with vine-swinging sequences and perilous cliffside climbs, offer a refreshing break from the mundane. Every jump and swing feels perfectly timed, delivering that addictive arcade thrill we all crave. Sure, it might not boast the hyper-realism of modern titles, but that's exactly its appeal. It's pure, unfiltered arcade joy, a nostalgic masterpiece that reminds us why we fell in love with gaming in the first place. Heated Barrel. Heated Barrel, 1992, emerges as a quintessential example of early 90s arcade design, delivering a frenetic, Western-themed shooting experience that accommodates up to 4 players simultaneously. Developed by TAD Corporation, the game propels players into a side-scrolling odyssey, reminiscent of the studio's earlier title, Blood Brothers. Visually, Heated Barrel showcases detailed graphic work and fluid animations that capture the rugged essence of its Wild West setting. The environments, ranging from dusty plains to eerie ghost towns, are rendered with a level of detail that enhances the immersive experience. The game's soundtrack complements the on-screen action, featuring compositions that evoke the spirit of classic westerns. However, it's imperative to address the game's portrayal of certain character archetypes. Some enemy designs are based on outdated stereotypes, reflecting a lack of cultural sensitivity even by the standards of its release period. This aspect may be discomforting to contemporary audiences and detracts from the overall experience. In summation, Heated Barrel stands as a testament to the arcade era's penchant for intense cooperative gameplay, offering a challenging and visually engaging experience. Yet, its insensitive character. Representations serve as a reminder of the industry's past shortcomings in cultural depiction. Buck Rogers, Planet of Zoom, 1982. Buck Rogers, Planet of Zoom, 1982, represents a pivotal moment in the evolution of arcade gaming, intertwining early science fiction sagas with groundbreaking gameplay mechanics. Drawing inspiration from the iconic Buck Rogers franchise, a series that popularized space exploration in American media, the game situates players in a pseudo-3D cosmic landscape, piloting a spacecraft through increasingly challenging environments. The game's plot is minimalistic, aligning with the era's focus on action over storytelling. Players navigate through various sectors, combating enemy ships and dodging obstacles, with the primary goal of survival and high score attainment. This straightforward approach emphasizes reflexes and pattern recognition, core elements of early arcade design. Mechanically, Planet of Zoom is lauded as one of the earliest examples of a rail shoot-'em-up, utilizing a third-person perspective where enemies and obstacles approach the player, creating an illusion of depth. This pseudo-3D effect was achieved by scaling 2D sprites in real time, a technique that laid the groundwork for future Sega titles in the 1980s. Culturally, the game reflects the early 1980s fascination with space travel and futuristic themes, coinciding with the resurgence of interest in science fiction cinema and television. By incorporating the Buck Rogers license, Sega tapped into a nostalgic yet forward-looking audience, bridging classic pulp fiction with modern gaming technology. The game's influence is evident in subsequent titles like Space Harrier 1985 and Star Fox 1993, which expanded upon its rail shooter framework. For enthusiasts and scholars, revisiting Planet of Zoom offers insight into the iterative nature of game design and the enduring appeal of space-themed escapism. Super Space Fortress Macross 1992. Super Space Fortress Macross 1992 is a fascinating convergence of anime lore and arcade innovation that continues to captivate enthusiasts both as a game and as a cultural artifact, drawing on the rich storyline of the celebrated Macross series, a saga where transforming mecha and soaring music intertwine with epic space battles. The game transports players into a universe where tactical shooter mechanics meet high-concept storytelling. Its origin lies in an era when developers were eager to adapt beloved anime for the arcade, and here, that ambition is evident in every pixel. The gameplay is fast, frenetic, and meticulously designed. Players pilot a fighter craft through dazzling interstellar environments, dodging enemy fire while executing precision maneuvers that echo the strategic depth of modern shooters. The mechanics, though rooted in classic arcade traditions, feature smooth controls and layered difficulty that still resonate with today's gamers, proving that substance can accompany style. Graphically, Super Space Fortress Macross has vivid hand-drawn illustrations and rich backdrops that convey the fast-paced fury of space battle. Its soundtrack, punctuated by heroic themes, reinforces the game's cinematic quality. Hard Times 1994. Hard Times is a love letter to every overused trope in arcade beat-em-ups, a game that revels in its own mediocrity with a knowing wink. In this 1994 title, players are thrust into a dystopian urban jungle where heroes, as tough as they come, or at least as tough as a discount action figure, battle hordes of cartoonish thugs in an endless quest to save the day. The story is as thin as a paper cut, deliberately leaning into the idea that story is overrated when you have fists and flashy moves. Gameplay is a relentless button masher, where each level churns out waves of predictable enemies, offering little in the way of innovation, but plenty of opportunities for over-the-top action. The controls, while occasionally unresponsive, somehow manage to channel that raw, chaotic energy we've come to expect from arcade classics. Visually, the game is a riot of bright, blocky pixels and exaggerated animations that feel like a satirical homage to 90s action heroes. The sound effects and soundtrack, recycled and cranked to 11, punctuate every punch and kick with a sense of forced gravitas. In short, Hard Times knows it's playing with clichés, and it does so with gusto. It's predictably fun, endearingly cheesy, and a fitting tribute to the arcade era's unapologetic excess. Night Striker 1989. In 1989, Taito unleashed Night Striker, a futuristic arcade shooter that had players gripping the controls of an armoured hovercar, zipping through neon-lit cityscapes to rescue Dr. Masker Lindberry and his daughter from a nefarious terrorist organisation. The gameplay? Imagine blending the high-speed thrills of Outrun with the on-rail shooting frenzy of Space Harrier. Players navigated through 21 stages, though only 6 needed conquering to reach the finale, each teeming with enemies ranging from helicopters to robotic spiders. At the end of each stage, a boss awaited, and players chose branching paths, adding a layer of strategy and replayability. What set Night Striker apart was its atmospheric design. The game enveloped players in a cyberpunk world, with stages featuring factories, tunnels, and sprawling cityscapes. The soundtrack, crafted by Taito's in-house band Zuntata, further immersed players with its moody electronic beats. Visually, the arcade version dazzled with scaling graphics, offering a pseudo 3D experience that was cutting edge at the time. However, home console adaptations, such as the Mega CD version, struggled to match this visual fidelity, leading to complaints about blocky graphics and poor visual quality. Despite mixed reviews for its home versions, the arcade iteration of Night Striker garnered praise for its engaging action and visual appeal. In Japan, it ranked as the fourth most successful upright cockpit arcade unit in August 1989. Night Striker deserves recognition for its ambitious fusion of gameplay styles, atmospheric presentation, and the adrenaline-pumping experience it offered to arcade enthusiasts, cementing its place in gaming history. Super High Impact 1991. Super High Impact 1991 burst onto the arcade scene with an unapologetically exaggerated take on American football. Eschewing intricate narratives, the game zeroes in on delivering high-octane action, aligning with the era's penchant for arcade-style sports experiences. Players select from a roster of generic teams, each differentiated by city names rather than unique attributes. The offensive playbook offers approximately 20 plays, with the flexibility to switch between run and pass options dynamically. Defensive maneuvers are more limited, primarily focusing on diving tackles and pass deflection. This simplicity ensures accessibility, but may leave strategy enthusiasts yearning for more depth. The game's standout feature is its emphasis on bone-crushing tackles, highlighted by the hit-o-meter, which rates the intensity of each hit. Periodically, post-play scuffles erupt, leading to button-mashing brawls that, while entertaining, have no bearing on the game's outcome. Such elements inject a dose of chaotic fun, setting it apart from more traditional football simulations. Visually, Super High Impact impresses with large, colourful pixels and fluid animations. Digitised voice clips, including enthusiastic shouts like "Wicked Hit" and "Touchdown," enhance the immersive atmosphere. However, the absence of player names or numbers reduces the personal connection to the on-field action. In comparison to contemporaries like Tecmo Bowl, Super High Impact leans heavily into arcade sensibilities, prioritising spectacle over simulation. While this approach offers immediate thrills, the lack of depth and replayability may limit its long-term appeal. Nonetheless, for those seeking a nostalgic, hard-hitting football experience, Super High Impact delivers a memorable, if fleeting, adrenaline rush. Dynasty Wars 1989. Dynasty Wars 1989 is an arcade beat-em-up that revels in its own gloriously cliched excess, a veritable tribute to feudal Japan that doesn't take itself too seriously. In this title, a lone samurai, armed with nothing more than honor and a flurry of well-timed strikes, battles through endless waves of ninjas, ronin, and assorted minions, all in the name of ancient grudges and revenge. The plot is as thin as a samurai sword, playfully relying on tropes like avenging the fallen and saving the clan, which might make one wonder if the real challenge is remembering which cliché comes next. The action is relentless, with controls that reward precision, yet occasionally force players to embrace the art of rapid button mashing. Every punch and kick is animated with a fluidity that hints at traditional Japanese art forms reimagined in pixel form, and the vibrant backgrounds evoke a stylized vision of ancient battlefields. While it might not break new ground in storytelling, Dynasty Wars delivers an authentic slice of retro combat, balancing its predictable story with addictive, over-the-top action that still entertains arcade purists today. Operation Wolf 1987. In this classic arcade shooter from Taito, you step into the combat boots of Roy Adams, a one-man wrecking crew on a mission to rescue hostages from a vaguely defined enemy force. The storyline is as deep as a kiddie pool, but who needs plot when you have endless waves of faceless baddies to mow down? The game features a mounted Uzi replica, complete with force feedback to simulate the thrill of real gunfire, because nothing says immersive experience like numb hands returns after a gaming session. As you progress through 6 stages, you'll encounter a diverse cast of adversaries, including soldiers, helicopters, and the occasional ninja, because why not? The action is relentless, requiring you to juggle shooting enemies, avoiding civilian casualties, and managing limited ammunition, a multitasker's dream come true. Graphically, Operation Wolf delivers vibrant, detailed sprites that bring the chaotic battlefield to life. Explosions are satisfyingly over the top, and the environments, ranging from dense jungles to enemy bases, are rendered with impressive detail for the time. The sound design complements the on-screen mayhem with punchy gunfire effects and the occasional scream from a downed foe. In summary, Operation Wolf is a quintessential 80s arcade experience, offering unpretentious, adrenaline-pumping action that still holds a nostalgic charm for those who remember the golden age of gaming. Super Sidekicks, 1992. In 1992, SNK introduced Super Sidekicks, a title that sought to capture the essence of soccer within the arcade realm. Departing from the era's prevalent fighting games, this release offered a fresh perspective on sports gaming. Players could select from 12 international teams, each vying for the coveted SNK Cup. The game's design emphasized accessibility, employing a straightforward 2-button control scheme that allowed for immediate engagement. This simplicity ensured that both seasoned gamers and newcomers could partake without a steep learning curve. Visually, Super Sidekicks stood out with its vibrant animations and dynamic player movements. The depiction of on-field actions, from dribbling to goal celebrations, was rendered with a flair that resonated with the arcade audience. However, the game was not without its quirks. Notably, Spain's team appeared in Portugal's kit, a detail that, while amusing, highlighted some oversight in design accuracy. The title's reception was largely positive. Critics lauded its graphical presentation and the brisk pace of play, though some pointed out limitations, such as the restricted number of teams and occasional slowdowns during intense in-game moments. In retrospect, Super Sidekicks holds a notable place in gaming history. It demonstrated SNK's willingness to diversify their portfolio and laid the groundwork for subsequent soccer titles on the Neo Geo platform. Its blend of accessibility and engaging gameplay ensured its status as a memorable arcade sports experience. Captain Commando, 1991. Captain Commando, just saying the name sends a nostalgic thrill down my spine. Released by Capcom in 1991, this beat-em-up extravaganza catapulted players into a futuristic metro city where crime had spiraled out of control. Enter Captain Commando and his eclectic crew, the Commando team, each member more outrageous than the last. From a ninja master to a genius baby piloting a mech suit, the character roster was as wild as it was innovative. The gameplay was classic side-scrolling action, reminiscent of Capcom's earlier hit, Final Fight. Players battled through 9 diverse stages, each teeming with enemies and culminating in epic boss fights. The controls were tight and responsive, making every punch, kick, and special move feel satisfyingly impactful. What set Captain Commando apart was its sheer creativity. The ability to commandeer enemy mechs added a thrilling layer of strategy and fun. Visually, the game was a feast for the eyes. The vivid, realistic graphics and dynamic backdrops brought the future setting to life, while the lively music kept the action going. Each character's unique design and animations showcased Capcom's knack for creating memorable heroes and villains. Captain Commando may not have reached the iconic status of some contemporaries, but it remains a beloved gem among beat-em-up aficionados. Its blend of inventive characters, engaging combat, and distinctive style ensured its place in arcade history. For those seeking a trip back to the golden age of arcade gaming, Captain Commando is a ride worth taking. Lethal Enforcers, 1992. Lethal Enforcers, 1992 represents a seminal achievement in the light gun shooter genre, setting high industry benchmarks that still resonate today. The game's narrative is minimalistic. Players assume the role of a dedicated law enforcement officer, dispatched to restore order in a city overrun by criminals. Rather than focusing on elaborate storytelling, it emphasizes immediate reactive action, a design choice that echoes other classics tactics like Operation Wolf, control precision is at the forefront. Using a light gun, players must swiftly and accurately target enemies that appear along fixed paths. This mechanic rewards quick reflexes and situational awareness, and its responsiveness has been widely lauded in reviews from the era. In terms of visual presentation, Lethal Enforcers pushed the envelope with its photorealistic digitized pixels and lifelike backdrops, features that distinguished it from more cartoonish contemporaries. The immersive sound design further elevates the experience, combining realistic audio effects with a tense musical score. While the storyline may be sparse, the overall user experience is robust, delivering a pure, unadulterated arcade thrill. Lethal Enforcers remains a cornerstone of its genre, continually celebrated for its innovation and enduring appeal, especially on modern emulation platforms like MAME. Super Sprint 1986. Super Sprint 1986. The game that dared us to believe that steering a pixelated Formula One car with a free-spinning wheel could simulate the thrill of real racing. In this top-down racer, up to 3 players navigate their tiny cars around tracks filled with more hazards than a teenager's driving test. The tracks themselves are masterpieces of sadistic design, featuring crossovers, jumps, and gates that open and close at the most inconvenient times. And let's not forget the environmental hazards. Oil slicks that send your car pirouetting like a ballerina, and tornadoes that, because why not, tear across the circuit. Graphically, the game offers a bird's eye view of the action, which is a polite way of saying we couldn't be bothered with perspective. The cars are color-coded: yellow, blue, red, and green, but don't expect any distinguishing features beyond that. The sound effects consist of engine noises that resemble a swarm of angry bees and crashes that sound suspiciously like someone dropping a tin can. Despite, or perhaps because of, these quirks, Super Sprint holds a special place in the pantheon of arcade games. Its unapologetic embrace of chaotic racing and the sheer joy of outmaneuvering both friends and AI opponents make it a timeless classic. Marvelous verdict. There's something truly magical about revisiting the golden era of arcade gaming, and with MAME, that magic is more accessible than ever. This emulator revives the classics in all their original glory, letting you relive epic battles, frantic shoot-em-ups, and hilarious beat-em-ups that defined our youth. It's like stepping back into a time machine where every pixel and sound effect holds a story. If you enjoy this ride, share the nostalgia with your friends. And if this journey through gaming history resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more retro adventures. Also, don't forget to tell us about your arcade adventures in the comments. We are all ears.